The curse? What curse? Even the babe knows that once you get to 13, it's enough. Once the Red Sox got to the first inning, it was enough. Vaughn vented with his bat. Another swing. Another homer. A Boston tee-off party with momentum. For the defending American League champs, not an opening act to be proud of. But the Indians have faced discordant Game 1 music before, and they've always bounced back. Just ask the Yankees and the Orioles from a year ago. Today's task, to nail the knuckler of Tim Wakefield and to get a successful house call from the doc. If not, it could be a season farewell to the Jake, which is all of Cleveland appealing to a higher authority. Welcome back to Cleveland. Another afternoon filled with late feel of summer. But the air of anticipation is here for the Indian fans because Indian summer can turn to fall in an awful hurry as Game 2 of the Indians against the Boston Red Sox. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman. So glad you can be with us in our continued coverage of Division Series baseball here on ESPN. Well, in Boston, they have hung one lantern in the Old North Church. If they can hang three, maybe Paul Revere will ride at midnight once again. But people in New England know it's a long way away from a playoff ride, although that one lantern ending that 13-game losing streak in the postseason looks like maybe a lighthouse off of Gloucester or Marblehead. The biggest reason for the switch, obviously, Mo Vaughn. 95, the last time the Red Sox were in the postseason against the Indians. Big Mo, 0 for 14, 7 strikeouts against the Indians pitching. Yesterday, 3 for 5, 2 homers, double. The 7 strikeouts became 7 RBIs, and that 3-run homer in the first inning just set the tone. Working with me this afternoon is Kevin Kennedy. And Kevin, that you know the Mo Vaughn in 95, you manage him. If you had put up yesterday's number in 95, you wouldn't be with me today. Mo talked about it. What was the difference you saw in him yesterday and the Mo Vaughn that you managed in 95?
Well, in 1995, Mo Vaughn tried to force the issue. He swung at a lot of bad pitches by his own admission. He was trying to prove that he was deserving of the big year that he had in 95. Turned out to be the eventual MVP. This year, he's letting the game come to him. The pitchers have to come to him and throw strikes. If not, he said he's going to take a walk. And we found out yesterday he got some good pitches to hit, and he delivered.
Well, just as the Red Sox and Mo wanted to get off the postseason schneid, so does Dwight Gooden. He's made 7 postseason starts and is yet to win a game in October. You wouldn't think that, but Gooden this year has been the Indians' best pitcher, bar none, since we got to August. He's 5-0 with an ERA of just over 3. Now, Kevin, he is not the fireballing Doc Gooden that we knew with the Mets, but he's a smart pitcher. He still can get his pitches up to about maybe 92 miles an hour. Can he shut the Red Sox lineup down today?
Well, Doc has a lot of playoff experience, and one thing that he knows, he's smart enough to know, it's a good Red Sox lineup, but he knows that Valentin, Vaughn, and Garcia-Parra are the guys that he has to get out. So he has to get the rest of that lineup out so those guys are hitting with nobody on base. That's really the key for Doc. Plus, he still has that good overhand curveball, too.
It'll be interesting to see if he can pitch Cleveland back into this series or if they leave home 0-2, and that'll be the task of Tim Wakefield, who throws 30 miles an hour slower than yesterday's starter, Pedro Martinez. Boston had the lumber out for game number 1. The big guys did the bopping. If they can support Tim Wakefield, then Boston will be going home for game 3 with a lead, big-time lead in their pocket. The heroes yesterday were the Boston batters. Who will be the heroes today? Or will the doctor have the right medicine for the tribe? I believe, but there's a little feeling of trepidation because of this Pepsi Red Sox lineup, especially the 2, 3, 4 spots. Darren Lewis got hit, of course, and was down at the plate for about 5 minutes. Got hit in the left ear flap yesterday. Left the game after getting on base all 3 times. He's okay back in center field. John Valentin scored 4 runs yesterday, was on base 4 times, hit second. Mo Vaughn, 7 RBIs, tied Edgar Martinez's postseason record not only in this round, but for any round, World Series, ALCS, etc. 7 RBIs, a record. Omar Garcia-Parra, 4 RBIs yesterday, clean up again. Mike Stanley struggled yesterday. He's the DH. Troy O'Leary is in left field hitting 6th. Darren Bragg is right field hitting 7th. Jason Varitek gets the start behind the plate today is 8th. Mike Private Benjamin, the second baseman, hitting 9th against the veteran right-hander, 33-year-old, one-time Cy Young Award winner in 1985. And dare I say, for Cleveland, starring in the role of Oral Hershiser, who had this role the last few years, Doc Gooden, the veteran who's come back as a different sort of pitcher, but the veteran who can provide stability on the hill, Kevin.
Absolutely right. As we talked about, he doesn't have the same fastball he had 10 years ago. He still throws in the low 90s. He's got an overhand curveball. He'll mix in a little slider and a changeup. He does have a lot of playoff experience, and that's going to be a key for him today. Yeah, the Indians defense, the one switch for Cleveland is Omar Vizquel having to work with second baseman Joey Cora. It's the 7th second baseman that he's had to work with so far in 1998. And that's a key thing, having that double play combo with the timing and the flips and all the exchanges that you have to make. So that's going to be a key in this series as well.
Even though Cora is a veteran, they started with Enrique Wilson, and they've had Sean Dunston, and they've gone right on down the list here in Cleveland. Joey Cora coming over from Seattle to try and provide a little bit of spark. Well, John Valentin, Mo Vaughn, Nomar Garciaparra. 2, 3, 4 hitters for the Red Sox. 7 for 13 yesterday with all 11 RBIs and 7 runs scored. The Indians, 2, 3, 4, only 2 for 12. They may not be able to totally flip that, Kevin, but they got to start hitting a lot better, Cleveland, because they're going to need some runs. But what a difference in the 2, 3, 4. We talked about yesterday that I thought the key player to Boston was John Valentin. He was one of the key players. We'll see if that continues today as Doc starts Darren Lewis off with a ball. Joe Brinkman is working the plate today. John Hirschbeck is at first. Larry McCoy at second. Dave Phillips at third. Chuck Merriweather left field line. Yesterday's home plate umpire Dale Scott on the right field line. Again, if you're not used to it, the postseason, of course, even in this round, there are 6 umpires with umpires on each line, and all of a sudden, Doc is 3-0.
Well, those last 2 pitches are pretty good pitches. Look like they're at the knees. Obviously, Joe Brinkman thought they were low, but they look like good pitches, and if Doc can't get those pitches today, he's in trouble. And Mike Hargrove's going to go out and not talk to Doc. He's going to calm Doc down, but he's also going to have Brinkman come out to the mound here so we can talk to him. I would guarantee you Mike Hargrove's going to take all kinds of time and stand on this mound and make Joe Brinkman come out from behind the plate to talk to him.
Well, Mike only looked at Brinkman 3 times on the way out to the mound. So he's going to, let's see.
I mean, this ball looks like it's right at the knees and on the corner. That's a pretty good pitch. I mean, if you can't get that in this ball game, if Doc has to get the ball up higher than that, then he's going to be in trouble today. So that's why Hargrove's out there talking to Doc Gooden. Joe Brinkman doesn't bite on it, though. He doesn't leave the plate.
There you go. Okay.
Now he does. I got to agree with Mike Hargrove. I really do. I thought both the last 2 pitches were right at the knees and right there. Establish a good strike zone early. They'll have a good ball game.
Oh, my goodness, he's tossed after 3 pitches. Hey, he was upset with the umpiring yesterday, but an 11-3 game, it's a moot point. And now here comes Dave Phillips in from third base. Kevin, 3 pitches into the game.
I've never seen that. I've never seen that before in my life. But I got to agree with Mike Hargrove as far as the location. I know that Joe Brinkman has got a better vantage point, but from the replays and what we saw from up here on the monitors, these are good pitches. If you can't get those in this game, like I said, it's going to be a long day for Cleveland.
Oh, boy. Oh, he's not done. Hey, why not? He can't come back later. He might as well get it all in now.
I'm not surprised that Mike is angry. I would definitely be angry also. A little surprised that he's got kicked out and couldn't contain it enough, because they need Mike Hargrove to manage this ballgame. In a 5-game series, down 1-0 in your own ballpark, it's very important for Mike Hargrove to stay in the game, and obviously he's gone.
Well, the fans give him a standing no, but Mike is done managing. Or is he? We'll talk about that in a moment. Here are the 3 pitches.
here's the first one. That's down. Fastball down. The second one's a fastball. Looked like it had the inside corner. That one looked like it had the outside corner. Both were at the knees. But Brickman's calling them down.
And now Doc, who hasn't thrown a pitch for 4 or 5 minutes, walks Darren Lewis on 4 pitches, and Hargrove is now seeing all he needs to see. And you know what? I hope he enjoys our telecast.
He'll see it. Last pitch from Doc Gooden. This ball's high. No question about that. But 2 of those balls look like they were right at the knees and on both sides of the plate, hit the corners. But Joe Brickman didn't call him for being inside or outside in the 2 pitches that Hargrove felt he missed. He called him for being down. Well, you've got to be able to pitch at the knees in the big leagues and get the call.
John Valentin sends this one down the left field line. Back, but it's curving. Foul. Hey, yesterday, Darren Lewis was on base all 3 times. Valentin was on base 4 times and scored 4 runs. He was 3 for 4.
Well, one thing with Valentin hitting second, he gets a lot of fastballs, and that was right down the middle, belt high. Johnny turned on it. He has power, obviously, 23 home runs. And just hit one out here in the first inning. With Vaughn hitting behind him, Val gets a lot of fastballs. That's why it works for Valentin hitting second, who has home run power, instead of 6, where he was hitting earlier in the season. Hitting second behind Vaughn, he gets a lot of pitches to hit.
Valentin holds off. And a derisive cheer for Joe Brinkman, as there's actually a called strike. As Jeff Newman, I imagine, will essentially be the manager, and his bench coach will be the man on his right, Johnny Gordon.
Well, they still have a lot of experience on the bench, but obviously you want to have your manager that's been here through the playoffs the last several years, and Mike Hargrove.
Grover has gotten these fans fired up, and he hopes he has his pitchers and umpires fired up.
Well, it can play to their advantage. It really can. Mike going out and fighting for his club that hard, even though he got kicked out. That can get the Indians fired up, because they were a little lethargic yesterday.
Just missed low and away. Ball 1.
They got down early 3-0, and it took the wind out of their sails, especially knowing they had to face Pedro Martinez.
Boston's trying to do the same thing. Boy, you put something up before your pitcher even gets to the mound. What a big difference that can make for Jimmy Williams and company. Here goes Lewis. Pitches inside. Throw by Alomar is in the dirt. Can't score. Lewis will scamper to third. Lofton will not throw. So Darren Lewis, who stole 29 bases in the regular season, by far and away the only Red Sox running threat. And Sandy just did not get a rip at this at all.
No, big jump by Darren Lewis. You could see he had a good 2 steps before Doc Gooden even lifted his leg. Ball short hops second baseman Joey Cora. There we say a new second baseman, Joey Cora at second. Couldn't keep that ball in front of him. Kind of olayed this ball. Right off the tip of the glove. He tried to make the tag a little bit too soon before he had the ball. So Sandy gets the throwing at it. But Cora makes the catch. He's actually got a chance to make the tag.
Sure he does. Valentin trying to hit a fly ball at this point. Does not do that. Fouls it off. It's still 2-2.
Well, Val is a fly ball hitter, but he doesn't need a fly ball right now with the infield back. Nobody out. A ground ball to short or second will do it. The corners are in. The ball's hit to the corners, they'll go to the plate.
Well, right there, Fryman would have.
Absolutely. But Vizquel and Cora are back. So Val just has to keep it away from the corners.
They don't want to put Val on because these 2 guys were aboard yesterday and it was 3-0.
No, you got to give up 1 early so you have Mo Vaughn up there with nobody out.
Sun now breaking through the clouds. Will the Red Sox break through against Gooden, as now the count is 3-2. So it was 0-2. Valentin's worked the count to 3-2.
He's got to throw a strike here. You'll give up the run here for 1 out and have a Mo Vaughn up there with nobody on.
He did not throw a strike, and just like yesterday, Lewis and Valentin are on for Mo Vaughn. So 2 walks, a stolen base, and an error, and a catcher put runners at first and third. So unlike yesterday when the Red Sox had 2 hits to give them 2 runners, they haven't got a hit yet. Gooden has not gotten anyone out. And now now with the sun just breaking through. I see Kenny Lofton coming in and maybe Brian Giles coming in to get these sunglasses. So we've got weather changes. We've got mood changes. We've got I don't know of a manager that in a postseason game that tossed out 3 pitches in. I know of managers who are waiting, right, Kevin, with the lineup card the next day.
The next day during the regular season, but not in the playoffs. Not in the playoffs.
I mean, you wouldn't even try that.
No, I wouldn't.
I'd say what, Dale didn't. Well,
I think Mike Hargrove was right, though. The pitches were strikes. I mean, they were right at the
didn't wait that long, did he?
No.
He waited a little.
No. And Joe's a veteran umpire. Obviously, he's been in this league a long time.
Darren Lewis at third, John Valentin at first for the imposing figure of Mo Vaughn, and it's a fastball inside for a ball.
Now, what Mo will be doing off a good, he's going to sit on a curveball early in the count with men on base. That's what he told me. He's going to sit on a curveball, something up, that get it over curveball. That's the pitch he's going to look for to try to drive out of the ballpark.
Way inside, 2-0. Good needs to find the plate. And oddly enough, the first inning for him, we talked yesterday about some pitchers always struggling in the first inning. It's been his best for the season. His ERA is under, well, just suffice it to say that his first inning has been his best inning this season. Pulled a little chain on Mo, and
yeah, that was the curveball, 2-0 curveball right there, and that's exactly what Mo said he was going to be looking for, but the ball was down. That's the key. That wasn't a get it over curve. That was a good, hard 2-strike type curve, and Mo chased it. Good pitch from Good. Started at the knees, and the bottom dropped out.
2-1 the count to Vaughn. Little low, Alomar with a block to make sure Lewis doesn't scamper home.
Well, in 1995, Mo Vaughn would have swung at that pitch. That's what he was swinging at. Balls in the dirt, trying to force the issue. As we said, he'll take a walk. If they don't want to throw him strikes, he'll take a walk. So Mo is sitting on curveball. He gets another one, and he sees it well and takes it all away. And Alomar saves the run.
Oh boy, 11 balls out of 15 pitches.
Yeah, those two that he missed in the first hitter, Darren Lewis.
Cost him a manager.
And it cost him his concentration. I think it took a little bit of focus away from Dwight Good.
You know, I said yesterday, I'm not going to get into this now, but Valentin is a name that I'm looking at for the Red Sox. Dave Burba, just file that away. We'll get to that later. Indians bullpen, they're hoping that's not an issue. As again, a breaking ball for Good and 3-2.
Well, Mo looking curveball, true to his game plan. He had an offensive game plan coming into this game off of Good. But Good makes another good pitch on a 3-1 count. Good curveball. Starts at the knees, and the bottom drops out again. What Mo Vaughn sees.
Crowd on their feet. You know what? But this is like they're cheering, but a little nervous cheer. Big moment here in the first inning. Swung out and missed. What a big sequence of curveballs for Dwight Gooden.
Well, he gets the credit because he made 3 good breaking balls that went down and out of the zone. And Mo Vaughn, as I said, was sitting curve all the way. That's what he wanted, but Dwight Gooden makes the pitch. If he had hung that ball, Mo would have been right on it. Good pitch, the bottom dropped out of it. Right off the table.
This will bring up Nomar Garciaparra. Now, the young Red Sox haven't seen Doc Gooden that much, and these could be overrated numbers, but of all the Red Sox in the lineup, Garciaparra has seen him the best. He's 6 for 11 against Gooden, including a home run. They just file that away. I don't know if that's enough to book it, if you will, but 6 for 11 as a manager would open your eyes.
And believe me, Doc Gooden knows that, absolutely. And there's a base open at second base, so don't, just because Valentin's on first, you got to pitch to him like he's on second base, like his base open at first. Meaning,
they appeal, and John Hirschbeck said no.
Meaning you've got Mike Stanley on deck, a double play guy. So you don't want to give in to Garciaparra here and let him open up the ball game 3-0 like happened with yesterday with Mo Vaughn. There's the curveball that Garciaparra lays off of. And his base umpire, John Hirschbeck, says no. Looks like Nomar might have broke his wrist.
Nomar going for pitch looked like it might have been a little inside, but he fouls it off, so now it's 2-1.
Well, yesterday, Nomar Garciaparra hit a slider that missed location from Jared Wright. Jared was trying to go down and away, and he missed middle in. That curveball kind of hung up there middle in, and Nomar had a good swing at it. So you got to keep the ball down and away, or Nomar will chase a high fastball up above his hands. Nomar has the count right now in his favor, however.
Wakefield saying, give me a little bulge like you gave Pedro yesterday. We'll see. Inside fastball, 3-1.
Doc did try to come inside with that high fastball. Ran it in off the plate. He's not going to give Nomar a good pitch to hit. Like I said, if he walks him, really no damage done, because Nomar might be the MVP of the American League, and he knows this guy can take him deep and open up the game. He's not going to let him do that.
To left field, back it goes, back, off the wall. Lewis has scored. Valentin being waved home. This count, relay. Oh, and he's safe at home.
Gooden's gone, I think. Unbelievable.
Yes, he is. I don't believe what's going on at home plate. First of all, they had to throw there in time to get Valentin.
Well, Doc does hang a pitch. He didn't want to do this. He tried to get it down and away, and he missed location. Nomar hits it off the top of the wall. Now watch Giles get it in. Pretty good relay. Vizquel with a strike to Alomar, who tries to block to get the sweep tag in, and it looks like Alomar got him.
And then Gooden must have just said something because he made the immediate call. Doc is hot.
Doc, he should have been out. Bill Brinkman missed the call again.
Jeff Newman is now having to force Gooden away from the umpires.
He was out. No doubt about it from that angle in the replay. He was out. Alomar puts a good tag down, a strike from Vizquel. And I was watching Gooden as he was backing up home plate after Brinkman called him safe. As he was walking back toward the mound right by Brinkman, he did say something to him. He turned his head and said something to Brinkman. And that's when Brinkman threw him out.
Actually, it was Mark Wiley, pitching coach, that got to Doc. And now Doc will sit next to Mike Hargrove in the club. I don't believe I'm seeing this.
I don't either.
Jeff Newman now calmly talking to the umpires around the plate, who's the acting manager is Newman, trying to get things organized.
Wow.
Well, whatever Doc said must have been a pretty sharp and pretty direct.
Well,
and I can't believe I threw the name Dave Burba out just a batter ago, and he's the one coming in. But
very prophetic.
I didn't think in this way. Look at this. Well, that was Newman.
That was Newman. I think that's Johnny Gorel.
Johnny Gorel. Now Wiley.
Right.
Meanwhile, he'll get as long as he needs to warm up. The good news, if there is good news for Cleveland, is Dave Burba, even though he's in the bullpen here, is a starting pitcher, and his 15 wins are as much as Cleveland had. Here it is again, and Vizquel throws a pretty good strike here.
Pretty good pitch. Alomar gets the ball in his glove hand. It looks like he tags Valentin on the left shoulder before Val's hand hit home plate. That's what it looks like. Joe Brinkman was right there, did not call it that way, and apparently didn't see it that way.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
But I think he missed the call. I mean, I don't think film lies.
Here's another look. As for a while, it looked like it might clear the fence. But we're just looking at the play at the plate.
Yeah, he got him. Alomar made the tag, no doubt about it. Val's looking up because he knows he has a chance to be out. And Val, of course, is elated.
The reason I actually thought I was ready to go out.
I was too.
And then there was no call. And then he put a hand up, which was throwing Doc out.
Yeah.
I said, well, wait a minute. What do you mean? Now he's out at the plate? It was an amazing sequence. And we're still in the top of the first inning. And Cleveland's starting pitcher and their manager are gone. Let's do the whole thing again, because Lewis at third base, of course, obviously is going to tag and wait. Valentin Valentin gave it a run halfway between first and second. There you go. It missed by 2 feet, first of all, from being a 3-run homer.
Right. Giles plays the carom pretty well. Throws a strike to Vizquel. Vizquel throws it just a little bit to the right of Alomar, but a good throw nonetheless, and in time. Alomar makes it reach out with his left hand, the glove side. There's the tag before Valentin's hand got in there. He is out. No doubt about it.
Called safe. The argument ensued. Gooden spun around and had a sentence that probably doesn't want to print. Meanwhile, Garcia-Parra with the double at second base. I give Valentin credit for rolling as soon as the ball was hit, because I wasn't sure he'd be in a position, as well as they played it, to come home, especially with only 1 out.
Well, Val knew the ball was going to be either gone or off the wall. Yesterday, a couple of balls went out like that, and they were gone. And then today, off the top of the wall. So Val read that well. Lewis, of course, nothing to lose but by tagging up, because either way, he's going to score, whether it's a home run or caught or off the wall. But Valentin had a good read. But a great relay by Vizquel and a great tag attempt by Alomar. And
well,
the 3-1 hanging curveball, a mistake by Gooden. The Garcia-Parra drilled to left field. I just didn't think he'd get anything close 3-1. I thought they'd rather put him on.
So how about that?
I thought they'd rather put him on and bounce a curve rather than throw a strike there. And that's the game plan of the Red Sox. They're looking for curveballs up in the zone today.
Now, how about this? Dwight Gooden now will have 1/3 of an inning pitch, give up 2 runs. What was it? It was the year the Red Sox won the World Series, right? I'm thinking about Babe Ruth. Didn't he argue balls and strikes after like 1 batter? He was thrown out of a game and someone came in. It wasn't in the World Series. Someone came in and pitched a no-hitter.
I believe so.
It's something to that effect. Of course, the Red Sox know about Roger Clemens in 1990 going berserk in Game 4 in Oakland. Terry Cooney was the home plate umpire there. I mean, that's a little different. That was the Red Sox were down 3-0. He's pitching against Stewart again in the second time around. He got tossed, but this is unreal. By the way, for Hargrove, his 4th ejection of the year. Here the shortstop's kind of laughing about, saying, hey, man, we didn't expect this today. It's a funny game. I don't think Jeff Newman, who is now the acting manager of the Indians, acting at least for today, although I got to think with a nice new ballpark, there's got to be some phone connection from Mike Hargrove's office out there to the dugout. Don't you think, Kevin?
Well, he could be in the runway. Mike could be in the runway.
Well, Wakefield here, he's waiting to pitch.
He had to go warm up again.
Meanwhile, let's talk about now what Cleveland has on the mound, or who he has on the mound is Dave Burba. Burba was put by Mike Hargrove in the bullpen because he could have been maybe his Game 4 starter.
Right.
But he said by far and away, Burba has much more experience coming out of the pen, being long relief. He knows every role. Burba was acquired by John Hart, the general manager, from the Reds just before the start of the season. And Dave Burba this year won as many games as Charlie Nagy, 15, which is the most on the staff. Cologne won 14. Now, Burba gets all the time he needs to warm up. And Kevin, he is now capable. I mean, I'm kind of glad I threw his name in there. I thought it was a little early. I didn't think we would come in at this point. But I find him as the key player for Cleveland in this game. I said that last night because I had a feeling that Doc would pitch okay. But it would be a game of like a 6-5, 7-6 sort of thing, and we'd see Burba. And Burba is capable of going 6-7 innings in this role easily, Kevin.
He is. He was 15-10 this year with an ERA at 4.11. But what this does now, Doc Gooden out of the game early right now. He could come back in Boston on Friday now.
Yes, he could.
If he had to. In relief, I'm saying. Not necessarily a start.
He could start, although they'll pitch Nagy.
They'll pitch Nagy, so Gooden might have to come into that role, depending on what happens in today's game. If they lose today, of course, everybody's going to have to be available for Cleveland on Friday.
And now back to the game. Dave Burba is ready. Mike Stanley is at the plate. One thing Cleveland doesn't get, because Burba, same righty as Gooden, he could have, kind of changed things all around, but Burba is easily the best man for this job. And that pitch actually looked up and in from up here. Joe Brinkman calls it a strike.
Standing ovation for the ump.
Stanley ground ball to Vizquel. Chases Garcia-Parra back to the bag and makes the play to Tony at And there are 2 outs. Smart play by the Gold Glover at shortstop.
Well, there's the ground ball that I had anticipated had Garcia-Parra maybe walked and put the bases loaded 1 out. Because Stanley can hit some of those ground balls just like that to the left side. It would have been a double play, but woulda, shoulda, coulda, didn't happen. Gooden hung a breaking ball. Garcia-Parra drilled it. Now Gooden's out of the ball game. Being kicked out.
Troy O'Leary, 23 homers in the regular season. Steps up, and even though he was on your club in '95, and there's a strike, you said he never got in, right?
No, and Troy said before the game, I was nervous yesterday, Skip. He still calling me Skip, as some guys do. But he'll be much more relaxed today, I think, getting that first playoff game out of his way.
He got hurt in the workout the day before?
Yeah.
Right here in Cleveland?
Pre-game workout right here in Cleveland. We were taking infield, and he threw a ball in, and he had back spasms, and we had to scratch him and take him off our roster.
Verba ahead 0-2. Bench ball misses up and in.
That was it. Troy's an outstanding fastball hitter. Dave Verba and Sandy Alomar certainly know that. Try to get him with something off speed or a breaking ball in the dirt.
Comes in and knocks down the Red Sox rally. Oh, man, what haven't we seen in the top of the first inning? Red Sox get 2 runs. Indians lose 2 participants.
Your money. Investing it.
Well, then, it's been quite an interesting afternoon already here on the shores of Lake Erie, with the Red Sox coming up with 2 runs in the top of the first inning. And now, I would say this is Mike Hargrove's Pepsi Indians lineup, but it's Jeff Newman who'll be calling the shots from the bench. Kenny Lofton leads off in center field. Omar Vizquel, they flipped 2 and 9 from yesterday. Vizquel hitting second. David Justice has hit Tim Wakefield for 4 home runs in his career. That's wrong. He's hit for 2 home runs. Manny Ramirez is in right field. Jim Thome is at first base. Travis Fryman is the guy who's hit for 4 home runs. Left field is Giles. Alomar is the catcher. Joey Cora is the second baseman, hitting 9th today instead of 2nd against the right-handed knuckleballer. A career high in wins for him. 17-game winner, Tim Wakefield.
Well, for Tim Wakefield, the conditions right now are good. It's about 70 degrees, just a slight breeze. That is good for the knuckleball. And if the key for Tim Wakefield is he gets the ball down where he starts it at the knees and gets it to chase it, then he's going to have a lot of success today.
Well, he got used to 95 miles an hour for Pedro Martinez yesterday. This is what, 68, and I think that was fast.
68 miles an hour. Indian hitters have to look for the ball up.
One thing that they also know, and it is an adjustment, Wakefield works very quickly. So, oh man, I didn't get a good swing. They can't kind of relax for 5 seconds up there, right, Kevin?
Absolutely
That's part
right.
of his allure.
The other thing to look for Wakefield is when he gets behind the count, 2-0, 3-1, when he throws that fastball, that's when he gets in trouble. The hitters sit on that. So he cannot have the same pattern that he's had sometimes during the season. Continue to throw the knuckleball, even if Timmy's wild. He's got to continue to throw the knuckleball in hitters' counts, which he did right there. Two and one knuckleball right here up, and that's what to look for as a hitter. If the ball's up about shoulder high, sometimes it'll drop down right into your swing.
Lofton, who homered yesterday, hit this one foul. We will see how hitters adjust. We'll talk about Travis Fryman when he comes up, who's had the most success in this lineup against him. Some hitters, you see Lofton standing as they most do right at the back of the box. Some might want to move up in the batter's box on him. And Lofton will get a base on ball. So just as Lofton's rally started with a walk, here's a walk from Wake.
Good job right there, because that ball started out low and Lofton knew it was going to drop down and out of the zone, and that's what the game plan is against knuckleballers. Good job by Lofton to lay off of that pitch. Watch where it starts out. Lofton sees it's about knee high, but knows by the time it hits home plate, the bottom's going to drop out. It's going to be a ball down, and it was. Now Wakefield is quick to the plate. Of course, Lofton with 54 stolen bases, he'll pick his spot with that slow knuckleball at 68 miles an hour to make up the distance, even though Timmy slide steps to make that distance up. A lot lack of velocity.
Omar Vizquel 0 for 3 yesterday in game number 1. Omar hit 288 this year, 2 home runs, 50 RBI. chosen by his manager, Mike Hargrove, to the All-Star team this year, and well-deserved. The pitch never came down, and ball one. And I guess there's one thing we should tell the folks at home as manager in Wakefield. He really doesn't know how he's going to do on a given day.
No, he does. It's such a field pitch. That's why with knuckleballers, they're tough to manage. You don't know sometimes how long to keep him in there. When is he going to get the ball down? As long as he's got good movement.
Varitek will now go out to talk. You're looking at Joe Kerrigan and Jimmy Kerrigan, the pitching coach. What can Varitek really tell him?
Right now, just talking about where the knuckleball is, it's up. He's got to start the thing out down lower, like I said. Look at the Red Sox defense. Good news for the Red Sox to have Darren Lewis back in the lineup in center field. Not only this series so far getting on base offensively, but he's an outstanding defensive center fielder. Only 3 errors in 155 games during the regular season.
It's interesting. You watch Wakefield make a move to first base. That's the hardest he throws all day.
That's it. About 80 miles an hour over there, too.
We're going to clock the throws to first, right, as opposed to the pitch to the plate.
Now, notice, too, Vizquel is hitting right-handed. He's a switch hitter, but he hits right-handed off the right-handed knuckle.
There goes Lofton, and boy, on a knuckleball, a guy like Kenny Lofton is going to have an easy time stealing, and that has nothing to do with Wakefield holding him on. It just takes so long to come to the plate.
Exactly. We saw the velocity 64 miles an hour, and even though Timmy slide steps, watch the slide step, pretty quick movement to the plate, but being 30 miles slower than a Pedro Martinez fastball, Varitek really doesn't have a chance to throw Lofton out.
Against Wakefield this year, base stealers for the American League were 24 of 32, 75%. I mean, and that's, catcher almost feels helpless.
Absolutely. It's tough to throw anybody out when the knuckleball's that slow.
It's not that Timmy doesn't hold him on. He's not bad doing that.
No.
But Lofton now at second for Vizquel. And that's a strike call.
The reason Vizquel's hitting right-handed.
This one will find the seats, although Mo is going to knock down the barrier to try to get over it.
A lot of switch hitters feel that the ball from the right side, they'll be able to stay in a little bit better than left-handed. That knuckleball will drop down and out of the zone. They might pull off the balls, but right-handed, they stay in there a little bit better.
Okay, knuckleball will not, off a righty knuckleball, it won't dart in very much. Well,
right.
It could.
Not as much. Although Joe Negro and Phil Negro said they could dictate where the movement went.
This one will go out of the way. One other thing that we should add, I want to add, you were a catcher. Did you ever catch a knuckleballer? Because I'm going somewhere with the glove.
Not professionally. In high school I had one, yes, but not professionally. Not in my time professionally.
How much larger is Varitek's glove than a normal glove?
Oh, it's huge. Look at it. It's almost like a first baseman's mitt.
Little chopper. Garcia Parra will have a tough play against Vizquel, who runs well. He's diving in, but he's out. Lofton does get to third base. What a fine play by Nomar Garcia Parra. Looked like Vizquel kind of slipped on one of his steps up the line.
Yeah, Omar runs well enough that normally he'd beat that ball out, but remember, he's also hitting right-handed on this swing, so he doesn't get out of the boxes quickly. Ball hit to the right of Nomar. He's got an outstanding arm, all in one motion, off the right foot, and he throws a strike to Vaughn. Now, Lofton reads this well. As soon as Nomar released the ball, Lofton took off for third base. The job gets done anyway. Runner at third, less than 2 outs.
I want to clarify something. I erred. We were correct in our opening lineup. Dave Justice, who steps to the plate now, does have 4 home runs lifetime against Tim Wakefield. 2 of them came in the 92 NLCS. That's where my numbers were different. Oh, and he hits this one a rope to center field. Darren Lewis is back. He'll make the catch, but not even a throw on Lofton. Justice saw that one all the way, and the Indians have cut it to 2-1.
Well, that's huge to get at least 1 run back here. Now we got a ball game. Indians get on the board. Justice gets a ball up. And as I said, that's the way you hit a knuckleballer. Look for the ball up in the zone. And Justice gets the ball up, pretty much right down the middle. Kind of floated up there. So by the time it breaks, it's just about thigh high. Watch, it starts out about chest high. And by the time it breaks, it's about thigh high, and that's a hittable pitch. And Justice does the job, gets it up in the air.
And he has just hit Manny Ramirez. Now, the one good thing when you get hit with a knuckleball, it's not going to hurt.
Now, you you spit on it and flip it back.
I mean, obviously Wakefield doesn't know where he's got lather worked up already.
Well, not right now. Timmy's got to start the ball down a little lower if he can. Right now he's releasing high. This ball runs up and into Ramirez. Timmy Wakefield right now has not gotten the ball down like he would like to do.
So now that'll bring up Jim Thome, whose career numbers are not good against Wakefield, however, and you remember all too painfully well. Jim Wakefield started Game 3 of the '95 Division Series for the Indians in Fenway. Thome, 2-run homer curled around the right field foul pole in the second inning, gave Cleveland a 2-0 lead. Eddie Murray had walked, and you guys never had a chance, and Cleveland completed the 3 games.
And it was on a pitch almost like that Thome hit out, a high knuckleball. That was a very hittable pitch. Thome had a good swing at it. Timmy Wakefield now needs to make the adjustment and get that ball down. See if the hitters will start chasing it down. The ball's up, it stays flat.
I talked with Jimmy quite a while before the game about hitting Wakefield. And we'll see where he stands in the box. He says he's going to move up a foot, maybe 18 inches in the batter's box. Now he swings and misses, and that one's going to get past Varitek. Nobody seemed to know what was going on, if he tipped it or not, but apparently not.
No, it hit off the glove of Varitek. That's what I'm talking about. Good adjustment by Wakefield, because watch, this ball starts out down. This ball starts out low, about knee high, and when the bottom drops out, it's a ball. And Thome chases it. And the ball had so much movement that Varitek boxed it. So it'll be a pass ball. And Ramirez in scoring position at second base.
Well, I got to imagine if you're a catcher catching a knuckleball, you don't sleep well the night before. I just got to imagine. Ramirez at second base. Oh, man, Varitek. Well, that's just like a goalie on a screenshot. He's not seeing anything.
That's a good sign, though, for the pitcher, because that means he's got a lot of movement. If you're having trouble catching it, for the pitcher, that's a good sign, but not for the catcher. The way you catch a knuckleball, you got to keep your glove in toward your body as long as you can. See how Varitek tried to reach out and catch it? You got to keep it in close to your body, because the late break. See, if you can't go out and try to get a knuckleball like you would a fastball, you got to keep your hand in close because the ball breaks so late, and then you catch the ball up against your body.
Fouled off. The good news is when they foul it off, Varitek didn't have to catch it. Now they used to, in the old days, have that pizza glove. That's not what they're using right here. Was it even larger than this? I mean, it was like a pizza with pepperoni, I think. Ooh, that one just missed, and it's 2-2.
Now a good adjustment by Thome. He saw that ball start out low at the knees and knew the ball was going to be out of the zone by the time it crossed the plate.
If you're scoring at home, sorry, Kevin, pass balls. I mean, they did hit the catcher. So pass ball's supposed to wow, but that doesn't matter. Thome patient on that one, and now the count is full. They're pounding the drums for the Indians to tie this up. Yet, but the Indians get on the board in a first inning. Well, dig in, folks. 2-1 Boston. Back in Cleveland, how about 3 runs in the first inning on 1 hit? We combined for the 2 teams. We saw a little bit of everything, huh, Kev?
A couple of walks to start this ball game. A lot of action so far in 1 inning. The emotions are running high.
If you've just tuned in, Dwight Gooden and his manager Mike Hargrove thrown out in separate incidents in the first inning. That's why Dave Burba has now come on to pitch for Cleveland. He retired both batters he faced in the first, and will start against 7, 8, 9 of Boston. Darren Bragg, Jason Varitek, Mike Benjamin. Down to third base, and Dave Phillips calls a strike. Let me tell you something. This is going to be on the edge of our seats. I think the umps already are more in the picture than they care to be.
Yeah, most definitely. The first pitch to Bragg in this at bat looked like it was outside, but Brinkman calls it a strike. Bragg on the check swing.
Popped to the infield. Travis Fryman at third makes the call and makes the catch. 1 out. What a great day of baseball we had yesterday. A couple of nail-biters after our game. The other National League Series begins. Following us here on ESPN, we go to Atlanta. for John Miller and Joe Carter. He could have been playing in this game. Instead, he's announcing it. Cubs against the Braves. Game 1, Mark Clark and John Smoltz. Our friends at NBC with the Rangers and Yankees Game 2 at a pitcher's duel. That was last night. Carl Ravitch, Peter Gammons, and Al Leiter. They're going the 12-hour turnaround, the 12:30 afternoon start, and the midnight backup second game of the double dip for baseball tonight. So we've got you covered on baseball, and Jason Varitek looks at strike number 1. Varitek now has to adjust to seeing him pitch faster than 68 miles an hour and fouls it off. Just one word on the games yesterday. Obviously, when you pitch a perfect game, you're that way. But David Wells, I mean, was a 2, a 3 starter. You know, a very good 2 starter. What a number 1 starter Boomer, the other Boomer, has become. What a great game he pitched, and so did Stottlemyre last night.
Yeah, it was a great game.
I knew Todd would come up big.
Well, Wells has 3 outstanding pitches: a fastball in the 90s, overhand curve, and a outstanding changeup. And he'll cut the ball in the righties too. So really 4++ major league pitches. That's tough.
Will sit down. So Burba has come in and retired all 4 men that he has faced. As we look from up top, helping us with our telecast today, the Goodyear Blimp Spirit of Akron. This is the 73rd year a Goodyear Blimp has covered the nation's top sporting events. And it's nice that the mileage that we had to pay for them today, not that much. You know, they come up from Akron to Cleveland. Very good producing by ESPN to make sure that we use the blimp on the Cleveland games.
Well, that's 5 in a row first pitch strikes for Dave Burba. That's a good sign. Throwing free and easy with a pretty good split-fingered fastball, which is what he struck Varitek out on in the last hitter.
Mike Benjamin fouls it back off the paraphernalia, 0-2.
I didn't think Gooden had bad stuff, though. He made some good fastballs at the knees. He just didn't get the call, and his curveball, he hung one to Garcia-Parra, but wasn't around long enough to find out what kind of stuff he really was going to have throughout the game.
Benjamin 0 for 4 yesterday in game 1. Ground ball, easy chance for Vizquel. Over to Tomey, 5 for 5 for Dave Burba, and the Indians will come to bat in the bottom of the second inning, trailing 2-1 with Travis Fryman leading off.
Carnell, it's obvious you're in great shape and ready for another terrific year.
Nice knowing you. Would you be interested in that job?
Oh, I'd consider it.
We start with Travis Fryman, who has 4 homers off of Tim Wakefield. And I spoke with Travis quite a lot. Yesterday was not a good day for him, but we spoke before the game, and I asked him why the success. He said, well, I really didn't know that, although I do remember a couple of the home runs. He said, compared to most of the other hitters, I stand closer in the box generally, and I hit on balls that are higher than most of the other hitters because I stand there, and most importantly, I have a shorter stroke than a lot of other hitters, and all those kind of add up to be successful against a knuckleball.
Exactly, especially being close to the plate and up in the box where that he hits that ball before it's allowed to break down out of the zone.
Rip, foul, his success continues. Fryman in the mid-300s, including those 4 home runs off of Wakefield. Rips a base hit as the Indians have a run, but they now finally have a hit.
Well, here's what Fryman does. He's up in the box. This ball starts up high, and by the time it finishes, it's about belt high. So Fryman's able to get a good, quick swing right through the ball. That's what all the hitters should do, really, on a knuckleball, is move up in the box.
To bring up Brian Giles. 269 during the regular season. Brian has to throw over to keep an eye on Fryman. He's not likely to be moving.
Well, but Cleveland stole 143 bases, 3rd in the American League.
I guess against Wakefield, everyone could be moving.
Well, absolutely.
And I guess that's partly, Kevin, maybe to just throw him off. They want to get him in a knuckleball rhythm. Although, is there really a rhythm to a knuckleball?
Well, there is. It's a field pitch. But the real pressure is on Jason Varitek. Very good pitch. Tim so far staying with the knuckleball. He's not throwing a slider or a fastball. And as I mentioned earlier, that's when he gets in trouble, when he starts throwing too many fastballs. He's got to stay with the knuckleball to get the feel of it, whether he gets behind the count or not.
Vaughn playing in, so he makes the play to second base to Garcia-Parra. They try to go back to first base to Benjamin, who made a nice stretch. I was thinking it might be Wakefield over there, who came up in pro baseball as a first baseman. So one thing Timmy can do is make a good stretch.
Yes, he can. He got over there quickly, but Benjamin was right there. Little chopper on the knuckleball right out in front of the plate. Mo Vaughn takes it on a hop, shuffles his feet, throws a strike to Nomar, who had to hesitate just a bit to make sure Benjamin got there, and also Fryman was on him very quickly trying to break that up. Just enabled him to be safe at first base.
That'll bring up the number 8 hitter, Sandy Alomar. And we discussed yesterday, of course, Sandy, both of his knees been bothering him all year long by far and away. When he's played, more than 60 games, and he's had those sort of seasons. This was his biggest struggle by far as an offensive player that he's ever had. 6 homers, 235 for Sandy Alomar.
Yeah, he had a lot of injuries. Sandy has had that throughout his career, a ton of injuries. Playoff situations are different. He's healthy now. Looking for a ball up.
But still, he played 117 games.
Right.
I mean, 6 homers, 117 games, and an average like that. I mean, that's not Sandy's numbers.
No, it's not. And you expect a big year coming off the year he had last year, his outstanding year, and he had a great playoffs last year.
Regular season numbers. I mean, you're talking about a 280 lifetime hitter. I know he's never been a huge home run guy. And he did have a tremendous year last year. He had 30-game hitting streak, home run against the Yankees, home run in the All-Star game, and home runs in the World Series.
That 2-0 knuckleball up high. Tim Wakefield did the right thing, though, because that's the count where he used to throw a lot of fastballs, and the hitters would sit on it and take them deep.
As a manager, as Jimmy Williams is, and you were managing Tim Wakefield, do you feel a little helpless out there a little bit watching him?
You've got to be very, very, very patient, because Tim could get behind the count like he is now. They come back and throw 2 great knuckleballs.
There goes Giles on the 3-1, and he'll come back.
Well, believe it or not, that was a fastball, 77 miles an hour. 3-1 fastball.
How many will he throw?
He'll throw about 90% knuckleballs the whole ball game, and he averages per start this year in 98. He averages about 95 pitches. So Timmy will throw 90% knuckleballs, but that's the first fastball so far in the ball game for Wakefield. Got to come back knuckleball.
Well, the moment, you know why we just stopped? Stepped out of the box. The blimp went over and cast a shadow over the plate. Ripped down the left field line. Fair ball. Giles will round third and head home. No relay. We're tied at 2. Sandy Alomar was big in postseason a year ago. He was huge. Had a base hit yesterday. He's just tied the game.
High knuckleball. There it is. Belt high. Sandy turns on, hits it right into the corner. O'Leary gets to it as quickly as he can, but because Giles was running on the 3-2 count, he is able to score. O'Leary gets back into Nomar Garcia-Parra, but Giles is already 2/3 of the way home. Jimmy Williams and Joe Kerrigan know that the key to the knuckleball is to get the ball and start it out low. And so far tonight, Timmy Wakefield's kept most of his knuckleballs up high where they just stay flat. And they become very hittable.
And the phone call to the bullpen for Joe Kerrigan. John Wasden up and throwing very early, has made some starts for Boston. Wasn't sure whether he would be on the 25-man roster, but he made it. And he may be next in. So Alomar doubled yesterday, doubled today. And now he faces the number 9 hitter, Joey Cora, as Wakefield, and that's inside. In his 4 starts against the Indians this year, Wakefield was 2-1, and 3 of the 4 starts, he went at least 7 innings. Missed 2-0.
Timmy Wakefield, last inning against Tomei, he made some good adjustments. He started to pitch lower at the knees and got the strikeout to Tomei. That's what he has to do right now. He's going to start the pitch lower. It's not the movement. It'll move if you start it lower. You bend that front leg a little bit more when he lands with the lead leg. You can get the ball down just a little bit better.
4 balls to Joey Cora. There are 2 on for the top of the order and Kenny Lofton. It's a humid day here in Cleveland, although, you know, we're not talking the middle of the summer. It's about 70 degrees humid, which, as you pointed out earlier, pretty good conditions, at least for knuckleball, but I mean, sometimes the pitcher isn't on it.
No, this is good weather for a knuckleball pitcher. Little slight breeze, 70 degrees, perfect day. Clouds
much more humid than yesterday.
Clouds have burned off, but it's a perfect day for a knuckleballer. It's a little bit mechanical right now for Timmy Wakefield. Got to bend that front leg a little bit more when he lands to get that ball down and finish his pitches. You still have to have some mechanics when you throw a knuckleball. You don't use your legs as much, obviously, as you would as if you were a power fastball pitcher. You just got to start the ball down lower in the zone.
Run home, courtesy of Alomar's double. Sandy is on second base. Joey Cora on first base. Bottom second, 2-2 game. 3-0 to Lofton.
Well, he's not going to get that call because he hasn't been around the plate. Now, when he does throw one down, it's on the inside corner, and Wakefield is now upset. He doesn't get the call from Joe Brinkman because Timmy has been inconsistent so far.
That is a strike. Lofton started for first.
Almost the same pitch. Throw it 2 times in a row to get 1.
Ripped to the gap in right center field. Can Lewis catch up to it? No! Alomar will score. And actually, Cora will not score. As the ball went hopping up and over the wall, and the Indians lose a run on what certainly would have scored 2. And Lofton might have, with his speed, gotten a triple.
It would have been a triple and 2 runs for sure. It looks like Jimmy Webb, and he is. He's done. Timmy Wakefield could not get the knuckleball down today. This last pitch was up. And a nice game plan offensively from the Indians, because it was very apparent they were looking for the ball up and trying to spit on the knuckleball when it was down.
Well, we're still in the bottom of the second. Both starters and 1 manager are gone. We might be gone.
Never know.
When comparing the new gas-powered Yardvark from Homelight with an actual aardvark,
the Indians lead the Red Sox here 3-2 as they continue to bat in the bottom of the second. The knuckleballer Tim Wakefield is gone at the Jake, and now it's time for the Truman Show. John Truman Wasden, 26 years of age, former #1 draft pick of Oakland in 1983. Grew up in Tallahassee, played at Florida State, pitched in a College World Series, now a pitch in a Division Series. The sometime starter, great things were expected of him. Obviously, he's a #1 pick. Hasn't really found himself yet.
Came over in the trade with Oakland 2 years ago in the Jose Canseco deal. And John Wasden, the key for him is to keep the ball down. He's got a pretty good sinker. Mixes in an overhand curveball. A split-fingered fastball. He's got to keep the ball down. He's not a power pitcher.
Omar Vizquel is up, with the Indians leading 3-2, but 2 runners in scoring position. Joey Cora, who would have scored had the ball stayed in the park on the Lofton ground rule double. He's at third base is Cora. Lofton at second. Little flare to left field. O'Leary is there. Cora bluffs. And now Lofton is held up between second and third, but he gets back to second because the Red Sox didn't want a chance to run him moving home from third.
Pretty good sinking fastball from Wasden. A couple of good fastballs back to back. Still hit it off the end of the bat. Everything is status quo. A little bluff right there, as you said, by Vizquel. A strike is thrown to the plate. Veritek looking at Vizquel, back at Lofton, and you're absolutely right. He didn't want to throw the ball away and risk losing that
Lofton
run.
was so far in the middle of the base path that he would have stopped, forced a rundown.
And they didn't want to get involved in that.
Here is David Chief Justice. Oh, this is ripped to right. Back he goes. Back. Gone! 3-run home run. The Indians have busted it to 6-2. Maybe they should have gotten involved in that rundown.
Well, I was going to say we didn't get a chance because the game up on the first pitch, but when you got an out to take with your 3-hitter coming up, David Justice, you got to go for it. And Veritek hesitated. This ball's middle in, a little bit down where David Justice likes it. Wasn't just mislocation. They're trying to go down and away. This ball is down and in. That is a mistake to power hitting left-handed hitters.
Boy, Justice smoked that sac fly off Wakefield in the first inning. He has been on it. Pitching, defense, 3-run homers. We talked about it yesterday with the Red Sox with a pair of 3-run dingers. Cleveland with the 3-run dinger today. So Burba has come in and has immediately done the job. Wasson has come in and has not.
Yeah, you're right, but the key, as you said, was try to get that out because you got the 3, 4, and 5 hitters coming up with 2 men on at second and third, and they had a gimme right there with Lofton. Even if Vizquel gets in a rundown too, you've got to be able to take that out and not let Justice do what he just did to you.
No, I was going to get you into that, but
I was too.
Justice at the first pitch. And now, of course, the moot point is Lofton's ground rule double because all the runs scored anyway.
Right. I just missed location on Justice, though. He wanted to go away. He missed middle in and down.
Manny Ramirez has been hit by a knuckleball and now hit by a fastball.
Well, that's not intentional. That's just a sinker that got away from Wasson, and that's nerves. Here's the pitch. They're trying to come inside. 92 two-seam fastball with movement hits Martinez, like on his left shoulder maybe. But that's how they try to pitch Martinez. It's a jam him. He's got such great power to go to right center. They try to tie him up with fastballs in.
Well, the 9th hitter for the Indians here in the second inning will come to the plate. Left-handed Jim Thome, who struck out against Wakefield in the first inning. Thome homered yesterday, and there was such a big home run for him, not because he was big in the game, but remember, he's come back after the hand injury, hit a homer in his first at-bat about 10 days ago when he came back, but really has not been the same, and he does think a lot at the plate. Mike Hargrove told me, boy, you know, if he struggles in the first game and a half, I don't want Jimmy thinking too much. Well, the home run yesterday told Jim Thome all he needed to know. I'm okay. I can hit live pitching.
And especially off of Pedro Martinez fastball.
So he was very confident before the game today, although obviously you were gearing in for the knuckleball, and now you have a regular pitcher, if you will.
This guy's from the old school, though. He's such a gamer. As you know, you're close to Jim Thome.
He's my favorite player on this team. Of a team of which you have a lot of favorite players. He's an old timer, you're right.
He has respect for the game of baseball itself. Thome 3-0 will definitely be swinging if he gets anything out over the plate. As he said himself, he's up there to hack. And every hack he takes is a quick one. He does not get cheated at the plate.
In there for a strike, 3-1. 3-2. 5 runs home for the Indians here in the second inning. Well, they're doing what Boston did yesterday, although the Red Sox hung a 2 spot in the first. Dave Burba says, hey, you know, I wasn't even supposed to be pitching now, and I could get a win. And actually, since he didn't start, he could actually leave the game now and get the win if they continue to win.
That is true, yes.
Which he will not be leaving.
No, he's throwing the ball well. He's faced 5 hitters. And he looks good. Burba's throwing great.
Tomey skies it. Garcia Parra out on the outfield grabs the tough side. And he makes the play. But the Indians have hung a 5 spot here in the second. David Justice over the wall. Maybe the wallflowers singing about him. Swinging at the first pitch and past the glove of Lofton is Darren Lewis. All the way to the wall. Darren Lewis has been aboard all 5 times he's come to the plate in this series.
And as we said in the open, you got to get guys like Darren Lewis out to keep them on base, because the heart of the order, Valentin, Vaughn, and Garcia Parra are the guys that can kill you. It's a high fastball right at the letters of the Boston. He drives it to right center out just past Kenny Lofton. On to right center for a stand-up double.
Here's John Valentin, who's been on base 5 times in the game and a third, if you will. He walked, as did Lewis in the first inning, and eventually came around to score on the 2-run double by Nomar Garcia Parra, which just missed being a home run off the left field wall. That time Boston figured, hey, we did a game 1, we can do it game 2. Dwight Gooden was gone. Disputed tag at the plate. Valentin was called out at the plate. Indians thought otherwise. Gooden was thrown out. Mike Hargrove thrown out earlier by home plate umpire Joe Brinkley for arguing balls and strikes after just 3 pitches. Mo Vaughn on deck. But I mean, if you tune in late, I mean, you missed. It's like going to a hockey game and missing the first 2 innings. I mean, critics missing the first 2 minutes, and there's been a bench-clearing brawl.
I think what Mike Hargrove did was the right thing, not to get kicked out, but to go argue, because those first 2 pitches by Gooden, first 2 out of 3 were pretty good pitches. But my point is, what it did, it fired the Indians up. You know, I walked to the ballpark today. The fans are already saying, well, it looks like it's not our year this year. I've never seen that before here in Cleveland.
Well, the players aren't saying that.
No, I know, but the fans were. That gets around the ballpark. I think it fired everybody up.
No question about that. Feel a little better about things than they were an hour ago. Fly ball hit pretty well to right field. Manny Ramirez, though, is there. Tagging is Lewis, and he will move to third base. So there's 1 out and a runner at third for Mo Vaughn.
Nice job by John Valentin. Still go the other way, because it's still early enough in the game where a runner at third and less than 2 outs. Mo could drive the run in with an out. Doesn't have to get a hit.
Well, Mo Vaughn brings his personal fan club along, and you're allowed to have mom and dad as your fans. Leroy and Shirley, Norwalk, Connecticut, not far from where I live. Connecticutians, yep. Sit for so many games right behind home plate. Fenway. I think their seats are in the same section as our Peter Gammons. So they share the same hot dog bed as Peter.
It's all in the family there.
Hey, it's great. What a great. Looking forward to that on Friday. Be a career highlight for me. Playoff game. Having no pitch. Having so many games from the bleachers, and dare I say, some of which I can even remember.
I've done a career playoff game. I've done a playoff game.
I let that one right through. Thanks for letting that go right by it.
But it didn't end up the way I liked 3 years ago. This one will be different this time. Well, the infield defense is back and shifted way to the right. So Mo, as I said, he can make an out, still driving a run.
Now, Dave Burba certainly isn't going to give him anything in the wheelhouse, and the count is already 3-0 there. So would you describe, although there's Vizquel almost behind second base.
Right, big hole on the left side. But Mo, when he goes opposite field, it's usually in the air.
Mo can really, you know, for a guy that's hit, it's a power hitter. I'm not only talking this year when he was a contender for the batting title. he, even earlier in his days, hit a lot of home runs to left field for a guy that's a big, burly left-handed.
That's why he's a good hitter. You can't pitch him any one way. He's not a pure pull hitter. You pitch him up and away or down and away, he'll go opposite field. We saw yesterday that fastball a little away. You hit it out opposite field. And as Mo said, I wasn't trying to go deep. I just wanted to get my hands through the ball.
Ooh, Berber came in with him. Mo missed it 3-2.
Yeah, that little tail to it, up and away. Just above the hands of Mo Vaughn, and Mo got underneath this one. It's strike 2. Look at Berber driving this ball. Goes up, a little tailing action away from Mo Vaughn. Mo swings underneath it.
Wanted it, but it was fastball inside for ball 4, so Mo was struck out and now walked, and the Red Sox will have runners at the corners for Nomar Garciaparra, who's driven in 2 already today.
Well, there's the different Mo Vaughn that we talked about in the open. For 95, he would have swung at that pitch 3-2 because it was very, very close. This time he said, I'll take a walk. If they don't want to pitch to me, I'll take a walk and let Nomar do it. And that's what Mo did. In 95, of course, he chased a lot of bad pitches and struck out 7 times in 14 at-bats.
Garciaparra, 6 RBIs in the game in the 3rd. Hits this one to center field, right center. Lofton now being... Now he and Ramirez have signals crossed. Lewis will score the sac fly by Garciaparra. He's given it all 3 runs, and it's now a 6-3 game.
Well, it's an important run. Valentin, with his fly ball to right field, gets Lewis to 3rd with less than 2 outs. And Nomar gets a ball that he can hit in the air. Looks like Lofton lost it. Center fielder has preference. If 2 outfielders call, the center fielder always has preference. That's why Ramirez backed off. Lofton looked at Ramirez and realized he didn't have it. Kenny picked the ball up once again to make the play. But that's a big RBI because it's early enough, as I said, you start chipping away at that lead and try to get it to a 1-run game by the time you're in the later innings.
Vaughn at first now with 2 outs for Mike Stanley. And just as we talked about John Valentin being a key hitter in this series, and I'm looking at him all these games, and he has certainly done the job as you described it with the fly ball. Mike Stanley in the 5-hole has got to get going. He didn't look good yesterday. He grounded out to short in his first at bat today. No, he's a streaky hitter, as you know.
Oh, and he's a professional hitter.
Yes.
What that means is he sits on pitches, he studies pitchers, he knows what they're throwing, what counts. That's what a professional hitter does, and he uses the field. He's got great power to right center. Very good situation hitter. Right now, the situation calls for a long ball or a double. Vaughn will not be running at first base. Matter of fact, Gomez is playing behind him.
Strike 3. Berber rings up Stanley. And the Red Sox are finished. We move to the bottom of the 3rd. 6-3 Cleveland. Easy for you math majors, or you don't even have to be a major. 50% more runs than hits for both teams. 9 runs on 6 hits in this game. As we begin the bottom of the 3rd inning. And Travis Fryman, who led off the 5-run 2nd inning for Cleveland, now leads off the 3rd. Fryman, Giles, Alomar against John Wasden, who came on in relief of Tim Wakefield in the 2nd inning. Doc Gooden thrown out after 4 batters in the 1st inning. So Dave Berba and John Wasden are your pitchers. Your pitchers of record are Berba and Wakefield right now. That gets you caught up. Chris Berman along with Kevin Kennedy with you. And if we look at the lower, I'm going to ask you again, Kevin, because obviously you would at some point like to manage again. You have connections with Kevin Malone, the new general manager of the Dodgers, a great baseball person.
Good people person. That's why it's going to work for him in L.A.
Would you like to be a serious candidate? I mean, I'm sure
Well, I live 20 minutes from Dodger Stadium. I grew up a Dodger fan. I spent 10 years there. I got my training there. That's how I became a major league manager with the old regime Dodgers that were there back in the all throughout the 80s.
And you know Kevin from your days at Montreal together, right?
Yeah, Kevin was a scouting director, hired the same year I became the farm director, so we had offices across from each other in Florida. And he's a good guy, just a good people person, good baseball man.
Well, let me ask you something. Glenn Hoffman, you might even, I mean, I'm not trying to move you along, but you and Glenn go way back too, right?
Yeah,
we'll let the 3-2 pitch determine here for Fryman first. I'm going to flush this out and move along here. Ball 4 for Fryman. So Glenn Hoffman and you have a history too, right?
Ironically, we do, because in 1990, Glenn was my player coach in AAA, and he's just a great guy. And Glenn and I have kept contact over the years. As a matter of fact, if I had lost my bench coach, Timmy Johnson, after the 96 season, I was going to hire Glenn as my bench coach. So it's just a little ironic that
now let me ask
he became the manager of the
If you manage somewhere, can I coach first base?
You can do anything you want, Chris. You know that.
All right, Kevin. So Fryman aboard. Brian Giles is up. Brian, a fielder's choice, and scored in the second inning. I could lose you next year. Want to wish Ray Knight, who was really under the weather today. I mean, really, for Ray not to make it here, you know he's under the weather. Ray, if you're listening right now, which you probably are, speedy recovery. Let's see in Boston. Now let's see. We could lose Ray to Colorado. You to L.A. So I'll be working with Don Baylor next year. Which I would enjoy. I love Don Baylor. So, and Don, did a good job in Colorado. Got that team to the playoffs very early. He will manage again, but maybe he'll be with us. So, it's the time of year when the job's open, and
so much speculation. Yeah.
Not that he's pleased to see his starter Wakefield out of there, but at least A, we used the regular glove. B, I have more of a clue back here.
Yeah, it's so tough to catch knuckleballers. We saw 2 pass balls in that first inning. Good curveball by Wasden, and Varitek did a nice job of keeping that in front. Travis Fryman, who will occasionally steal a base, stays at first base.
Off. And speaking of Travis Fryman, I mean, yesterday we talked about it, but how about his wait through all the years to finally make it to the postseason? All those games, 1,242 games without a postseason appearance until yesterday. I said, Travis, I didn't realize you were that old, but really, I mean, he never missed a game for Detroit. I mean, he always played like 158, 160. He finally made it in. As does Sammy Sosa in a couple hours. He's got a streak like that as well. Meanwhile, Giles will sit down. There is 1 out. And, hey, great games on ESPN and ABC this week for football. Sunday Night Football at 8:15. 3-1 Seattle at 3-1 Kansas City as they try and stay right behind the Broncos in the AFC West. And then Monday Night Football on ABC at 8. 4-0 Green Bay against 4-0 Minnesota. Brett Favre against the high-powered Minnesota offense. Hey, that one could. You may never sing "Turn Out the Lights, the Party's Over." The lights will be all over the board. Favre with 5 TDs last week. 3rd time in his career. That'll be a great game. Both games will be great. We got a good one here. Sandy Alomar doubled to knock in Brian Giles in the second inning. So Sandy has 2 doubles in the postseason as he's trying to erase that poor regular season. And you know what? So far he has.
That's right. Those are just numbers. The fact that he only hit 235. That's over with. Playoffs are a whole different story. And Sandy had a great 1997 playoffs, so a lot of confidence for Alomar. He's been through it before. He's a good hit and run man. That's why the Red Sox have thrown over to first base and put on the quick step-off move from Wasden just to check and see what Fryman's going to be doing. Jimmy Williams glancing to first. Sandy can use the field. He turned on a 3-2 knuckleball from Wakefield that hit into the left field corner in the second inning, but he goes to right center extremely well also. And right now he's got the hit and run count in his favor, 1-0.
Setting up outside. Pitch was not outside. It's driven to center field. Back goes Lewis. It's off the wall. Fryman being waved around third. He'll score. Alomar with his 3rd double in the 2 games. 7-3 Indians.
That's why we said playoffs are a whole different story. Regular season is over, and Alomar's producing at the right time. He gets a pitch right down the middle. Little cut to it. Looked like his curveball that was left up. It was a curveball. Belt high, and Alomar knows immediately that ball's going at least off the wall. About 3/4 of the way up. Lewis will barehand this and get it back in quickly, but Fryman got a good jump. He knew that ball for sure was going to be at least a double, so he was running hard right off the bat.
Hey, you did not think that the Cleveland bats would go meekly today after yesterday's effort. I mean, it may or may not result in a win, but there is no way, with the proud players they have and the all-star players and the guys who have delivered like Alomar, there was no way that they would not at least swing the bat today.
Remember, 3 runs from Pedro Martinez. Doesn't matter they scored 11 or 3 or Pedro won 1-0. You're still facing Pedro Martinez. That game is over. It's still only 1 loss. That's the way you have to look at it. That's the way this club has come out today, the Indians.
You saw in the bullpen the lanky righty Garrett Lowe, the lefty, a veteran of postseason play, Steve Avery. He comes in. He was MVP of one of the NLCSs of the Braves and Pirates back in those days. That was his other life. Pedro Martinez, well, he can only be a spectator. We'll see if he works game 4 or game 5, depending on how it goes. Right now, he's not listed to pitch for game 5, but you never know. Game 3 is supposed to be in Fenway Friday afternoon. We'll have for you at 4 o'clock Charlie Nagy against Brett Saberhagen. Game 4 on paper. Bartolo Colon going for the Indians, but now with the Gooden situation, who knows? Right?
Well, that's right. Both Gooden and Wakefield can actually be used in relief in Boston as early as Friday, really. So we'll have to talk to both managers and see what they elect to do.
Pete Shorrock, the lefty. I'm sorry, Kevin Slater.
It depends on what happens in this game, too.
Yes. Strength to Cora makes it 3-2.
Chris, if Cleveland wins today, then it changes the scenario how Mike Hargrove will use Doc Gooden. If they lose, obviously Doc Gooden would be ready for bullpen help on Friday.
Sure he would. Foul. Well, we saw, just to continue it, if you tune in late, I mean, it didn't take you missed a lot. 3 pitches, all balls. Mike Hargrove felt that he was being squeezed. Doc Gooden, he got tossed after 3 pitches by Joe Brinkman. Sandy Alomar and the Indians felt they tagged John Valentin out. Doc Gooden said something was tossed immediately, had to be restrained. All this within the first 4 batters, but the Indians, well, that lit a fire into them after those 2 runs, and they've come back with a 7-3 lead. Cora swings and misses, and he's gone. 2 strikeouts this inning for Wasden. Alomar still at second with a run in and Lofton coming up.
And Dave Burba came on in that first inning and put the fire out. They still had Garcia Parra at second with 1 out, remember, and Burba got Stanley on a ground out to short. He struck O'Leary out, and the Indians came back. The momentum switched the other way in Cleveland's favor.
Lofton has been aboard twice, has scored both times. Walked, stole a base, and scored in the first inning on a sac fly by David Justice, then scored on a home run by Justice in the second inning. Lofts this one, does Lofton. Troy O'Leary is there. And the Indians are gone, but not until they get the run back. They surrendered in the top of the 3rd. 4-run lead for Cleveland. His runs total we're certainly on pace. Start the 4th inning. Chris Berman along with Kevin Kennedy. Game 2 of the Red Sox-Indians Division Series. 11-3 Boston yesterday. Despite a 2-0 Boston lead here in the first inning today, the Indians have come back with runs in every frame to lead at 7-3, although both starters are gone. Doc Gooden gone in favor of Dave Burba. Gooden thrown out. Jeff Newman is now was bench coach, at least for one day, is the manager, is Mike Hargrove. I hope Mike's perception is good in his office, and he's got a nice office. I've been in there, and I hope he's enjoying the telecast.
I feel for Mike Hargrove because I would have been just as frustrated. Those 2 pitches by Doc Gooden at the knees in the first hitter looked like they were right there.
Dave Burba's been great. Of course, Joe Brinkman has been the center of the storm, at least the first inning storm behind the plate. The veteran Joe Brinkman.
But you sense if If Brinkman is not going to call those first 2 pitches right down the middle at the knees, then you know you're in for a long day. And that's why Mike Hargrove got upset and Doc Good, because they know if Gooden have to come up in the zone, then it's going to be a long afternoon. You've got to be able to get those pitches down at the knees and on the corners called strikes.
3-2 pitch to Troy O'Leary. Brian Giles in left field. 1 out. It's Friday at 8 Eastern on ESPN2. We're excited. We debut Friday Night Fights. Main event, Andrew Galata against Tim Witherspoon. Heavyweight bout. Muhammad Ali. Believe me, I did sneak in there. Darren Bragg 0-2 against Dave Burba. Hey, Burba came in, retired the first 5 guys, gave up a double to Lewis and a run in the 3rd, but he's been nothing short of, well, he's been the best Cleveland pitcher we've seen in 2 days, by far.
Going free and easy, fastball in the low 90s, good overhand curve on the last pitch.
It's not for us to predict what's going to happen in this series, etc., but I don't think necessarily, if Cleveland goes on and it unfolds in certain ways, that Burba could be a starter in the next round for Mike Hargrove.
Very possible.
Could be.
That's a split. Don't get upset, Dave. They need you in the game. 2-strike, split-fingered fastball. Looked like it might have caught the inside corner.
You know, taught him that pitch. No, not me. Rod Beck. When they were teammates in San Francisco.
Oh, there it is right there. That's a pretty good-looking pitch. Joe Brinkman right on the inside corner does not call it.
And it is a strike 3 and a clumsy tag out. Darren Bragg did go around. They appealed down to Dave Phillips. Alomar had the tag before. Phillips gave the strike 3.
Now let's take a look. Dave Burba in the dirt with the split. And because Alomar blocks it, keeps it in front from the side. Darren Bragg. And that looked like he might have whaled up. I mean, you know. I don't know.
We're going to get ourselves deeper.
Oh, yeah, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. I know.
Might need Don Baylor today.
Oh, boy. Well, I just, you know, I like umpires. I worked behind them many years as a catcher. Or in front of them, I should say.
Well, maybe the way you caught, you were behind.
Sometimes, no. I have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, we're watching it in slow motion, and our purpose is not to guess any calls.
No.
Believe me. Everybody knows that. They know you, they know me. Meanwhile, Dave Burba's trying to complete a 1-2-3 inning. And Baratek fouls it back.
That's where the word judgment call comes in. It's the umpire's judgment. Joe Brinkman's strike zone. Maybe a little bit higher than the knee today. I mean, that's his judgment. But you could certainly go argue it if you're a manager.
Broken bat. Tomey is there. So Dave Burba mows down the Red Sox, and we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. 7-3 Cleveland. Back in Cleveland, bottom of the 4th inning with the Indians leading the Red Sox 7-3. Omar Vizquel will step up to face the 3rd Red Sox pitcher of the afternoon. Derek Lowe, who came over with his catcher Jason Baratek from Seattle last year in the trade that sent Heathcliff Slocum out to the Mariners. And Lowe, as a starter, was 0-7. As a reliever, was 3-2. Big prospect, obviously tall, lanky, got size. Really never found himself. They were hoping he could become a good 4th starter. Vizquel goes the opposite way and fouls it off. Derek Lowe is 25 years of age from Dearborn, Michigan. And when he made 13 straight appearances at one point in the bullpen, it was 1.69, so he did okay. He's 6'6", 170 pounds.
Pretty good fastball with some tailing action to it at 91, 92 and an overhand curveball. Normally a ground ball pitcher.
The bat goes on the ground, the ball goes on the ground, and Vizquel is retired. Benjamin Navon, 1 out. Biggest hit of the day, David Justice. 3-run home run in the 2nd.
Now watch the location. Baratek sitting away. That ball is missed middle in and down. Right into the swing of David Justice, a good low ball hitter, and this is exactly what Wazen's talking to Joe Kerrigan about, his pitching coach, saying, Joe, I tried to get it away. The ball just cut and came back in on Justice.
Justice ripped a sac fly in the first inning, so 4 ribbies for David thus far.
That's what Wazen was trying to do. Sink that ball away from David Justice. Stay away from his power. Backdoor curveball. Another one.
Justice excelling in postseason, nothing new for him. I think we remember the beat a homer off Jim Poole in Game 6, 95 World Series. Tom Glavine and the Braves beat the Indians 1-0. That was the end of that series, and then he becomes an Indian. He had a big blow today.
A 3 in a row on the outside corner, called a backdoor curveball. That's by design. They just nick that outside corner, get Justice to give up on it.
Benjamin, a nice play on one hop on the grass to Vaughn, 2 down. That's a tough play for Mike Benjamin.
Benjamin shading way over the hole on the right side. This ball hit to his glove side. It was a sinker. After 3 curveballs, a sinker by Lowe. And it was down and in, and David turns on it again, but a nice pickup 5 feet on the grass by Benjamin. Benjamin going to his left, gets a long hop. Nice hands.
Manny Ramirez has been hit twice. This one slicing. Oh, that's a fair ball. In the corner, played by Darren Bragg. Double for Ramirez, who now has been aboard all 3 times today.
Manny Ramirez likes to use the field. He goes the other way well. That's where his power is. Tried to come inside. Manny keeps his hands inside the ball and drops it just inside the foul line. Darren Bragg throws a strike. Manny knows right away this ball's in. He's hustling all the way right off the bat, something he did not do yesterday on a ball hit off the right center field wall where he stayed at first base where he should have had a double. This time he's hustling, and he does have a double.
And they're going to put Jim Thome on and face Travis Fryman. Just figured that the lefty Thome might riddle Derek Lowe. And even though down 4, putting another runner on, they will take their chances with the righty Fryman.
Right. Well, here's the reason. Derek Lowe versus Travis Fryman. Travis is 1 for 12 lifetime. That's a .083 batting average. This is strictly a percentage move. And also you got a lefty Thome up there that they don't want to face. Where managers look at stats, look at matchups. Jimmy Williams playing the percentage move.
That's 1 for 12. That's fine. But Fryman today is singled and walked and scored a run.
And it puts more base runners on. So if Travis happens to hit one of those long balls that he can do, or a double, puts the Red Sox deeper in the hole. And if he doesn't make the pitches on Fryman and ends up walking him, then he's got the bases loaded for left-handed hitting Brian Giles on deck. Giles is 2 for 4 lifetime off of Lowe. So this is a key out right here for Derek Lowe.
Foul back. 1-1. The count to Travis Fryman.
And that is not the location that Lowe wants to throw to Fryman. That ball was up and out over the plate. Fryman had a good quick swing at it. Fouled it straight back. Trying to come inside. Watch the location. It's not inside. It is middle, away, and up. That is a very hittable pitch. That's to Travis Fryman's power. We talked about him being a good high ball hitter.
Off the fists. Nice play made by Valentin, especially with the base runner running right in front of him. Made it look smooth. Lowe wriggles free. 7-3 at the end of 4. At Jacobs Field in Cleveland, where for the first time we actually had a scoreless inning, the 4th inning. And we begin the fifth. 7-3 Cleveland. Dave Burba came on after 4 batters in the first inning when Doc Gooden was thrown out, which Doc's outing of 1/3 of an inning is the shortest postseason since another man in this ballpark, Steve Avery, pitching for Atlanta in '92, was gone after 1/3 of an inning. Game 5 of the '92 NLCS against Pittsburgh.
Well, Dave Burba's had outstanding command so far. That was his 50th pitch of the ball game, 35th strike. And 11 of 14 hitters that he's faced, he's thrown a first pitch strike.
Mike Benjamin, who made that very nice play at second base. How often do you see it? You make a play in the field, you leave
As
off.
always.
I think it's more than 1 out of every 9, you know. And Benji with a base hit to left center field, lofted over. And so the number now, Benjamin makes a turn, forcing a throw, and Benjamin is let off the 5th inning with a base hit. 30 miles south of Jacobs Field, the Goodyear Spirit of Akron. That's where it's based. It is the world's largest blimp. Right now, let's see. Let me get out my, well, not my stimp meter. That measures the speed on the green, but about 1,002 feet above the field right now. I could tell by the shadow that went over the plate 2 innings ago that about 1,002 feet, about 1,003 feet above us. Darren Lewis, slow ball with his cow to only get the lead run as Benjamin is gone. And the big news there is, for the first time, Lewis, well, he's on board, but it's not a hit or a walk.
Big out ahead of Valentin, Vaughn, and Garcia Parra coming up, because one thing the Indians have not been able to do is get Darren Lewis out today.
Or yesterday, before he was hurt.
Well, this whole series, absolutely right.
So theoretically, he's aboard again, but at least this time he actually has actually retired him in the box score. John Valentin, been on base 5 times in this series. Walked and scored in the first, and Garcia Parra's double. Hit a strong fly ball to right field, which moved the runner Darren Lewis to third base, who eventually came around to score. So Valentin has handled the bat with aplomb in these 2 games thus far. And you know who's on deck. 7 ribbies yesterday, 0 for 1 today. Vaughn. In the dirt, Alomar blocks him.
Now Burba goes quick to the plate with a slide step and throws the splitter, blocked nicely by Alomar, who does that as well as any catcher in baseball, blocking balls in the dirt.
Remember, Lewis stole a base in the first inning, then went on to third when the throw from Alomar was in the dirt and went past Joey Cora.
Now the Red Sox are near last in the American League in stolen bases.
Lofton has 2/3 as many as they do as the whole team. Broken bat. Simon to Cora for just the lead man again. The good news is for Burba is he's inducing the Red Sox to hit ground balls. The bad news is they've both been too slow for even Cleveland to think about attempting. And now Mo Vaughn comes up, but he comes up with 2 outs.
That's right. Good sinking action from Dave Burba. He's got good movement on his 92, 93 fastball. That's why he's getting a couple of ground balls here to Lewis and Valentin, but not hit hard enough, as you said, to turn 2.
Mo struck out in the first, walked in the third. 7 RBIs yesterday. So the Red Sox have 14 runs in the 2 games. He has 7 ribbies. Garcia Parra has 7 ribbies. Skied, but this should do it. Cora falls off his cow and makes the play. Vaughn has retired. A standing ovation for Burba. He's pitched marvelous baseball. 7-3 Cleveland. From the Jake, those toothbrush lights. And the Indians have brushed off Red Sox pitching with 7 runs thus far this afternoon. Derek Lowe, the 3rd Red Sox pitcher, now works to 7-8-9 in the Indians order. Brian Giles, Sandy Alomar, and Joey Cora. We would be remiss if we did not wish those who are celebrating today the great holy day, Yom Kippur. Those who are celebrating a happy and a inward-looking Yom Kippur. Wish everyone a good New Year. Feeling awfully good today. Dave Burba shave. Of course, looks like he needs a shave, which helps that nickname work.
Burba shave, huh?
I don't think there are many people that remember Burba shave, are there? Brian Giles has walked very quickly against Derek Lowe. And Burba has helped break the bubble here for the Indians, at least thus far. It is interesting to note that yesterday's loss, 11-3, has given the Indians 7 straight series in which they've lost game 1. In the previous 6, they've gone 3-3 after losing game 1. And who knows how this one will turn out. But as far as feeling pressure of losing the first game, they've got this down.
There is none. Giles was actually hit by the pitch.
Yeah.
It's like an overhand curveball. Hit him on the foot. Lowe's got good, hard sinking action to his fastball and a good overhand curveball.
Sandy Alomar, 2 doubles to go with his double yesterday. 3 doubles for the series. Sandy with 2 ribbies.
Good hitters count right here for Alomar, so he'll look for something up in the zone that he can hit in the gap again for a double or out of the ballpark.
Late on that pitch from Lowe, 2-1.
Just a good sink to it. Good sinking fastball from Derek Lowe. Looks like the bottom dropped out of it. Sandy's right on it. Watch the movement. He swings right over the top of it. Pulled his head off a little bit also. And now we're in a running count for Brian Giles, who will occasionally steal a base. He's got 10 of them.
Well, if you're named Derek Lowe, you should be able to throw a sinker, shouldn't you?
Maybe low.
Yeah,
Lower and lowest.
Right? Should. Inside Alomar, 3-1.
Well, that one wasn't low. Tried to sink it again on Alomar to get him to roll over to the left side. Couldn't do it. Sandy's in a great hitters count now, 3-1. It's a sign for the sinker.
Chop to Valentin. Benjamin. Vaughn around the horn for the double play.
Jeff Newman had 2 counts where he could have put Giles in motion. 2-1, he elects not to. 3-1, he elects not to. And because of that, instead of a runner at second and 1 out, we've got a double play. This is a sinker in on Alomar. Valentin, quick release and feed to Benjamin. It's a nice turn to move on. Good aggressive slide and a rollover by Brian Giles, but Benjamin takes this ball behind the bag and is able to avoid injury.
Landed on the bag, too. That's an interesting fall. Joey Cora walked and scored in the second, struck out in the third. Or Vizquel flopped in the lineup today. Cora hitting 9 and Vizquel 2 today. Yesterday was the other way around.
Joey Cora is a good fastball hitter, and occasionally he'll hurt you deep. Sinker right there from Lowe.
Joey came up originally in the Padres system, as did several other of these Indians, most notably Sandy Alomar Jr. and at the time Carlos Bayer. Broken back. Garcia Parra. Vaughn. Good inning for Derek Lowe after hitting the opening batter Brian Giles. Garcia Parra will lead it off as the Red Sox try to get back in this thing, trailing 7-3. Only, of course, yesterday they had a crowd of 45,185, somewhere in that number today again, obviously. As Dave Burba faces Nomar Garcia Parra here in the 6th inning. Chris Berman and Kevin Kennedy, so glad you could be with us here on our, well, at least for carrying the postseason, our Swan Song Week. We carry the majority of the Division Series games. It's always a treat for us here at ESPN as you watch both us do the afternoon games and yesterday Fox at night, today NBC, everybody likes baseball. We're glad that everybody can bring it to folks and can watch all the games. Cubs at Atlanta following us on ESPN this afternoon. Nomar doubled and then a sac fly. Cubs and Braves with John and Joe Carter from the Giants. Check swing foul to that. Put it back up there so you can take a look at NBC doing the next game after that with the Rangers and the Yankees game 2. And that'll be what? Helling going to game winner Rick Helling against Andy Pettit. Cone doesn't go to game 3 in baseball tonight, but Carl Ravitch and Peter Gammons and one of the most quotable players and one of the, always a good guy to talk to, Al Leiter of the Mets in the studio with us, and that'll be fun. That's at midnight. 3-2 to Nomar.
Now Burba tried to throw a 2-2 splitter right there. Nomar wouldn't bite on it. Going the distance. Now Burba, this at bat against Nomar Garciaparra, has lost a little bit of velocity, down to 87 miles an hour on his fastball.
Well, he's worked 4 1/3, which is 4 2/3, which is not unbelievable for him, but he wasn't geared up to do it when he got to the park today.
And the point being, he's getting some fastballs up, so it's a sign of a little bit of fatigue, at least on this first hitter, and that's where you have to start watching out if you're managing Dave Burba. Done a nice job so far to get to the 6th inning with this lead.
Well, if you're managing, you know, that's Mark Wiley, the pitching coach. Jeff Newman, the interim manager, at least for today. Base hit, Garciaparra. Nomar 2 for 2 today. Gives us a chance, excuse me for a moment, Kevin. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Now, that word disseminate is kind of like cavalcade. It's one of those. Another good word. Here's Mike Stanley, who's got to get going, I think, for Boston. He's grounded to short, struck out. Yesterday, Stanley struck out 3 times. Did have a base hit and a walk, but so he's K'd 4 times in the 2 games.
I think Burb is getting a little bit tired. Almost to the 70 pitch mark right now. He's getting these fastballs up, and he's lost 3 or 4 miles off the fastball.
Outside corner, 1-1 to Stanley.
There's a little reach back right there to get the 90-mile-an-hour fastball again. Mike Stanley likes that ball up and out over the plate. That's the one he hits to right center for power.
Garciaparra stops at second base, so Boston doing some business here, down by 4 runs, have a pair of runners on with none out.
Yeah, well, clearly the ball is up right now to both Garciaparra and to Stanley. Even though this ball jammed like a little bit, because the ball was up and because Stanley is strong, he's able to fight it over the head of Omar Vizquel into left center for the single. So the Indians will get their bullpen going now.
Yeah, call one out. Jim Poole will be the lefty who will warm up.
Yeah, there's 2 signs for a manager. One, is the ball down or is it staying up? If it's staying up, it usually means the legs are getting tired. He's not getting the same drive down in the zone. And number 2, if you have access to the radar readings, when the velocity drops dramatically 3 or 4 miles an hour from one inning to the next, those 2 signs tell you your pitcher's tired.
Troy O'Leary 0 for 7 in the 2 games. Ball 1 outside.
And Chris, the third thing, the hitters will always let you know when the pitcher is done by the way they react to the pitches and by the base hits.
Stanley had been struggling, got a hit. O'Leary needs to get out of it. And now a visit from the pitching coach, Mark Wiley, the Coyote. Goes out to the mound, and key point in the game here, obviously, with Boston having been shut down after their 2-run first inning. Dave Burba coming in after Doc Gooden getting thrown out of the game after 4 batters. Burba's been great, but now has 2 men on. But it's the part of the order we talked about as you watch Jim Poole warm up, that if you can wade through Valentin, Vaughn, and Garciaparra, Boston is not really a 1-9 lineup, although can't do much better than Darren Lewis has done as a leadoff batter in this series.
No, he set the table in both games for the Red Sox. And this is a key out right here with Troy O'Leary, a very good fastball hitter. As I said, the way to get him out is with spit-fingered fastballs in the dirt, or that curveball, the backdoor curveball. Got to get a ground ball if you can, maybe with a split.
Low to O'Leary. This will be a chance for somebody other than Vaughn or Garciaparra to drive in a run, Kevin. It hasn't happened yet for Boston. Not that 14 runs in 2 games are bad, I might add.
Not bad bad at all.
But 7 each for those guys. Rest of team.
And Troy O'Leary's capable, though.
Yep.
23 home runs, 83 RBIs. As Troy said to me before the game, he was nervous yesterday. First playoff game ever in Major Leagues.
3-1.
Bourbon now starting to fly open with that front shoulder and landing on a stiff front leg, which enables the ball to stay up in the zone, and that's not what Bourbon wants. So clearly he's tired, as we have said. Mark Wiley knows it. Jeff Newman knows it.
Fouled off. Count is full.
Just hope that a mistake is not made in this at bat to O'Leary. Look at Bourbon. Just laying on that front leg. Little stiff right there. Little recoil. Well, the ball comes up. Well, land on a bent front leg so you can really finish driving your head toward your target.
Inside. And the bases are loaded.
I think, well, no. Did that ball hit him? Oh, that's ball 4.
Doesn't matter
right.
anyway.
I thought you... Yeah, that's got to be it for Bourbon.
Paul Shuey, the righty, is now warming up. They got Poole up in a hurry because of first O'Leary. Wasn't going to be ready for him. The lefty, Darren Bragg. And then Varitek after that. Jeff Newman's going to go with Burba. He has a 4-run lead. Bragg up with the bases full of Red Sox, and Burba is up high for a ball.
Darren Bragg off of Dave Burba. Lifetime is 3 for 4. 750 batting average. So this matchup, especially with Burba getting the ball up in the zone, this matchup goes Darren Bragg's way right now.
Oh, but here's maybe 2. Vizquel. Turned by Cora over to Tomey. The Red Sox do get a run, but that's not the way they had in mind of scoring it.
No, a little surprised because Darren Bragg usually works the count better than that. This is just a great pitch by Burba. He reached back and made one when he had to. It was a sinking fastball outside corner. Watch the location. Alomar sits away, and Burba gets it right there. Good sink action, good tail to it, and Bragg gets it off the end of the bat. Of course, you got Vizquel turning a double play with Cora, and Bragg, who runs well, not well enough this time. Just a great pitch by Burba.
What a key way of reaching back for Dave Burba and Darren Bragg. Now Jeff Newman will make the move. Varitek, what a switch hitter. Burba says, hey man, I just got a double play.
That's why it's surprising Bragg would swing early in the count right there. Burba was clearly out of gas. And Darren Bragg has better pitch selection usually than that.
Listen to the boos here. They're going with Shuey. Listen to the boos. They love the way Burba's pitched. Standing ovation for Dave Burba, who came on and excelled. At Cleveland, Dave Burba. Well, they skate out the 3 stars thus far. He's le premier étoile, the first star. Came on after Gooden was thrown out of the game. 5 1/3 innings. A 4-hit, 2-run ball. He is responsible for the runner at third base in Mike Stanley, and he is giving way to fastballer Paul Shuey, who pitched an inning yesterday, pitched well. Shuey, Kevin, has 58 strikeouts and 51 innings pitched in the regular season, so you know he's got gas. Former #1 pick of the Indians, the 2nd overall pick in '93, I believe. So you know he was scouted and looked at very highly, but he's behind already. 2-0 to Jason Varitek.
Well, he topped out with his fastball yesterday at 94 miles an hour. I like the way he threw. Got a good overhand curveball to go with that. Fastball there. 92 on the corner. Great effort by Dave Burba, though. 75 pitches, 49 for strikes. He got tired. It's a good move by Mark Newman, especially getting the double play ball from Bragg. That's more than they ventured.
Count is 3-1 to the switch hitting Varitek.
Varitek from the left side is a 216 hitter.
And Tomey broke on it, then broke away from it. As a result, the Red Sox plate Mike Stanley. It looked like he had a shot at the ball.
Yeah, I think he did. Jimmy kind of froze on it, and once he froze, he realized that ball was going to skip on into right field for the single. Fastball up, right down the middle. Varitek left-handed, hitting 216 versus 278 from the right side. Ends up driving the run in. Jimmy Broke, been close.
Court going for it.
But either way, on the right side, the pitcher's covering first, so you might as well go for it, especially with a runner at third.
That's a very key job by Varitek in making this a two-run game. Very important run there, and that's all the more reason. You know, the Red Sox, they didn't throw the ball around the one time.
No doubt about it.
Homer, that run might, come back to haunt them a little bit. Not saying the play would have been made, but why not try it?
Well, you can go for it, as I said, because on the ball into the right side, the pitcher's going to cover first anyway. And Jimmy Thome was playing deep. Might as well range to your right and make a shot at it.
That's a split.
Mike Benjamin singled his last time up, grounded to short earlier in the game. Fouls it. Looks like this will get out of play, although Fryman will give it a look. A couple rows behind the dugout we go. What did I say? But of course, only the sixth inning. I had 7-5 pegged in. I didn't say who.
Yes, you did.
We're right on it.
Got to stay right. Got to have a lot of bullpen help now.
Thome had 9-8.
Keep it right there.
I am the Swami.
I know that.
Bottom fell out on it. Benjamin strikes out. But the Red Sox do cut the lead in half. 7-5 as Cleveland comes to the plate. Here in the bottom of inning number 6, and the momentum has shifted maybe a little bit to the Red Sox, Kevin, even though Cleveland has the lead.
It's important right now for Cleveland to get one of those runs back. Get the momentum back to their side. Kenny Lofton have a good at-bat here, work the count, and get on base. Those 2 runs with 9 outs to play for the Red Sox is not a lot. It's only a 2-run differential.
Surprised that Poole was not ready and warm or for O'Leary?
Well, it was apparent after Garcia-Parra, the pitches to him all were up in the zone, and then Berber was tired.
Up the middle, Benjamin's going to have to make a quick throw. Oh, Mike Benjamin's played a fine second base to get the mercurial Lofton 1 out.
Showing range going to his left earlier, now range going to his right.
Of course, we are a little more than a half hour away from game 2 of our afternoon double dip. The Chicago Cubs and one of their heroes from the other night, Gary Gaetti, had the huge hit in Houston on Saturday and the huger 2-run homer Monday night in the playoff against the Giants. The G-Man back in the postseason as the Cubs and Braves come up next on ESPN. And if that game starts before this one ends, which I gotta say is a decent possibility at this point, we'll begin that on ESPN 2. Omar Vizquel up and Valentin out on the grass at third. Mike Benjamin, been a busy young man. 2 up and 2 down for the Indians here in the 6th. One word on Gary Gaetti. I mean, 2 years ago, game 1, Cardinals against the Padres. 3-run homer he hit off Joey Hamilton, got them a win in that game. Of course, been in the postseason many times on the championship Twins teams.
Well, that's where the veteran guys come in late in the season, and they're great additions because they've been through it before. They don't feel pressure. And Gary Gaetti almost single-handedly won one of the weekend games in Houston, and then, of course, you get the 2-run home run in Chicago Monday night.
David Justice with a 3-run home run. You know, as we watch that below, we would be remiss. Our condolences to the families and friends of Dan Quisenberry. He's a great pitcher, a wonderful man. And all of us not shocked to see it, given the brain tumor and everything, but our hearts out to Dan's family and friends, and he has many of both. Strike to Justice, it's 2-1. Things have quieted down as far as the umpires are concerned. It's hard to get much louder than we had in the first inning. An eventful last few innings for Joe Brinkman and the crew. Oh, Justice ropes one to right center field. Lewis is going to have to chase this off the wall. David Justice has absolutely tattooed the ball all day.
And prior to this at bat, Derek Lowe had his sinker working well. He kept the ball down. He had 4 ground ball outs in a row. This one stayed up. Just about belt high. Great extension from David Justice. He just exploded with the hips and then the hands. And short hop the fence. Darren Lewis again bare hands it, gets it back in. David Justice running hard right off the bat. Knows that Lewis is a great outfielder, so David hustles in for the double.
6th extra base hit for the Indians on the afternoon. Justice with a homer and now a double. There are 1 home run and 5 doubles by the Tribe. Greg Swindell, a one-time Cleveland Indian, now throwing in the pen for Boston.
Just can't make mistakes against good major league hitters. Eric Lowe had a good sinker since he's come into this ballgame. He makes one mistake to Justice and he drills it. Great explosion with the hips from Justice. Get through that ball.
At Justice, not only the homer and the double. Remember the sac fly that he hit in the first inning? That looked like it was gone. Manny Ramirez hit by pitch twice and doubled to the right field corner. We talked about Cleveland getting at least 1 run back. Here's their chance. Eric Lowe missed ball 1.
Manny has his power to right center, so they drop a curveball on him, and usually they try to come back inside on his hands to get him tied up. Aaron Lewis shading just a bit toward right center field.
Sinker.
Down and in.
Well, it's not October yet, but late, early fall baseball in the shadows. Those interesting lights there, those toothbrush lights as we call them, make very interesting shadows out there in the field and may play a factor. Although still, as you can see, pitcher and batter's box in the sun. Ramirez, low and right to left. Back goes O'Leary, off the wall. Justice scores. Safe at second is Ramirez. 8-5 Cleveland.
Very important, as we said, for Cleveland to come back and get one of those runs back, because the momentum had shifted to Boston even though they were down 2, as they cut that 7-3 lead in half to 7-5. This was a hanging breaking ball to Ramirez, and Manny once again thought maybe he hit this ball out, but he didn't. But good enough for the RBI double.
Ramirez is knocked low out of the game. Jimmy Williams making a pitching change. 8-5 Tribe. Major League Baseball Division Series is brought to you by Sony Handycam. Only Sony Handycam camcorders make recording and playing back videos virtually worry-free. Well, the Cleveland Indians have doubled their pleasure and doubled their fun. 6 doubles, along with David Justice's home run, has given the Indians an 8-5 lead. And now the lefty, one-time Cleveland Indian pitcher Greg Swindell, is on to face the lefty Jim Thome with 1 run in and 1 runner in scoring position.
Mostly sinking fastball and a slider from Swindell, occasional changeup. In there right now, obviously, to get that slider down and away to Jim Thome, not leave anything out over the plate that he can drive for a long ball. Does have a right-hander on deck in Travis Fryman.
Manny Ramirez at second base. His second double of the day. He's been on base all 4 times.
Now there's the slider to Thome. No surprise there. That's why the lefty's in to face the left-handed hitting Thome. That breaking ball going away from Thome. Jim Thome has had success against Swindell. Lifetime 3 for 6. 500 batting average.
Points that back. It's like he's lining up a putt or something before every pitch. Oh, it's just roped to center field. Darren Lewis first went back, then came in and was there. Hit well, but Swindell does the job. But as you mentioned, Kevin, Cleveland gets the momentum back, picks up a run. At the end of 6, 8-5. Boston fans that have made it to Jacobs Field with their 7th inning stretch. The Red Sox enter the 7th down by 3 runs, 8-5. And the table setter, Darren Lewis, who has been aboard all 5 times. He's actually been on base all 6 times in this series, but the last one on a fielder's choice. Walked and scored, doubled and scored, reached center fielder's choice, and was on base 3 times yesterday before getting plunked behind the ear. Lewis looks at Paul Shuey's second pitch, and he's quickly behind 0-2.
Good location on both pitches, outside corner on the black of the plate. Tough pitches to hit. And more importantly, Joe Brakeman calls him for strike.
Mo getting the armor ready. 2 up third here for the Red Sox in the 7th inning. Always has that look. Nice pitch on the outside corner by Shuey, and there is 1 out. Now look at Ramirez's double last half inning, Kevin.
Well, Manny Ramirez thinks he hit this ball out of the ballpark as he did yesterday, so he's not hustling once again. He thinks it's gone. And once he realizes it's off the wall, then he has to turn it up and just does get into second base. The bench thinking it's gone also. Now watch Joey Cora in the middle. Joey yelling at Ramirez to get going. Why aren't you running? You've got to be in scoring position. They've seen that once too often from Manny Ramirez, where he takes balls for granted that he thinks he's out of the ballpark and doesn't run. Yesterday, he was held to a single. A ball off the fence in right center.
Good shot, fellas. Dougie Holmes, our director, and the crew. Great shot of Cora. They know. I didn't think that would happen again today. If you look at the flags, which is not critical to show at this moment, but they're coming in from
right.
The wind is really from left to right, so the wind held that ball up a little bit. Been the same wind all day. John Valentin. See, there's my guy in this lineup with the base hit. As Valentin is on base for Mo Vaughn with 1 out. Of course, at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock Mountain, 1 o'clock Pacific, John Smoltz, Mr. Postseason. Guy didn't even pitch the first 7 weeks of the season and win 17 games. He starts for Atlanta against the Chicago Cubs. It'll begin on ESPN2. And then when this is over, we'll get it all on ESPN1. You see the flags from left to right. Swings and misses against Shuey. This is power against power. This will be a good matchup right here.
94 fastball up at the hands of Mo Vaughn. That's where power pitchers try to get Mo. So he'll chase that ball up. But if you leave it just about letter high where that Boston is that you see, that's when Mo can get through that ball with that slight uppercut swing and hits those long, high home runs.
Oh, yesterday joining Rico Petrocelli, Carl Yastrzemski, Harry Hooper, Patsy Doherty, as Mo's dad Leroy watches home, joining those guys who have hit multi-home runs in the postseason for the Red Sox.
Good fastball. Try to tie Mo up once again.
1-2, the count to Mo Vaughn. 2 homers and a double yesterday for 7 RBIs. Today, strikeout, walk, and a pop to second. Fans want another strikeout. They got it. Paul Shuey's retired 3 guys. He struck them all out.
What a great sequence. Power fastballs in on the hands to 2 strikes. Then he goes down and away. A great sinking action. Bottom falls out of this pitch, and Mo chases it. Outside corner, starts out about knee high, and by the time it hits Sandy Alomar's glove, it's right off the ground. Great location. Good sinking action from Paul Shuey.
Garcia Parra with a frozen rope on one arm handled by Cora. He smoked it, but Cora was there, and Valentin is stranded. 7th inning stretch time in Cleveland, 8-5 Tribe. The Amazon is the left at bat, but the Indians' bats have pounded out a home run and 6 doubles, and they've done that against 4 Boston pitchers. This is Greg Swindell pitching Travis Fryman. Fryman, Giles, and Alomar, 6, 7, 8 here in the bottom of inning number 7. So if things go well for the Cleveland pitchers, they're done with Vaughn and Garcia-Parra.
That's exactly right. Next inning for the Red Sox will be important to get a base runner or two. So Mo Vaughn could come up for his 5th at bat of the game in the 9th.
They do not have really thunder off the bench either.
No,
they'd be in the lineup.
No, exactly right. Got Cummings, Hattybird, Trot Nixon on the bench from the left side for the Red Sox. Donnie Sadler, a second baseman, and Damon Buford.
I mean, it's not exactly
right
the bench
side.
that Joe Torre, for example, has a chance to tab in New York. I mean, just as an example.
Exactly.
So, I mean, what you see in the Red Sox lineup is what you have. They were hoping Reggie Jefferson could be ready. But back is still not ready to go. I mean, they may, if they go on, get him. Meanwhile, speaking of ready, he's been ready for 24 years. Dennis Eckersley in the bullpen, warming up. Interesting to see if he comes in to pitch here in Cleveland, because his career began in Cleveland. He pitched a no-hitter as a member for the Cleveland Indians.
Well, Eck will be ready for Sandy Alomar, who hits 3rd in this inning. There's a man on base.
Check swing. It's a foul ball.
If Swindell gets the first 2 hitters, he'll probably face Alomar and have Cora hit right-handed. His better side is left-handed. But if a runner gets on and Alomar comes up, I'm sure Jimmy Williams will go to Eckersley.
Checked both umpires at 3rd and 1st to see if he could get a call, and it didn't work.
Well, Joe Brinkman opened up the zone last inning when Lewis struck out off of Paul Shuey. Those balls were on the outside corner, and Brinkman rung him up.
Fouled off. We'll do it again.
Joe has opened up the zone a little bit, at least after the 1st inning, so maybe in some respects Mike Hargrove was effective, even though he got kicked out of the game.
Well, he was effective for his own team because they came fired up.
That's what I mean. So, and also for the umpires, they think about it. They know if they're a little tight also. They're human. Sometimes they don't get in the flow of the game early either.
My question is on Hargrove. The fans are cheering, but the scoreboard had it 3-2. They missed they're all booing now, but the scoreboard was wrong. This count is correct. They're saying it's ball 4, but please do not get on Joe Brinkman for this. It was the check swing foul ball that they missed. I saw this for about 3 pitches. And they're booing the umps as if, what, don't you see there's 4 balls? Hey,
you know the scoreboard operator is leaving that number 4 up there a long time.
Oh, I know. It's like Red Auerbach with the home timekeeper at Celtic games.
That's right.
It's been 3. This is correct, all right? Don't think anyone's getting gypped here. And now Fryman, I think, is saying, here's what happened. They think he's in a big argument. Saying, what's the story here? This is the correct.
There it is.
Hey, this is correct, fans. Now back to the matter at hand. After an exchange of punts. And he strikes out. We listen to these boos. It's a legitimate strikeout. All right, there's one out here in the bottom of the side. I saw this coming for about 3-4 pitches. We've got some big-time football for you. Sunday Night Football. We are excited on ESPN 8:15. Seattle and Kansas City, battle of 3-1 teams at Arrowhead. And then Monday Night Football, the Vikings and the Packers at Lambeau Field. 8 o'clock, starting with the blast from Baltimore. Brian Giles. Fielder's choice and scored a run in the 2nd, struck out, and then hit by pitch today. Pitch by Swindell.
Pretty good slider down and away. The nice pitch to Fryman that he struck him out on 3-2. That was a changeup. Got Travis way out in front. So Swindell's doing the job so far.
I got a question to ask about Grover, who I assume is still enjoying the telecast in his office. Foul back. Because Mike was thrown out after 3 pitches, does this count if they win as a postseason win for him, or is it Newman's? I don't know. We're going to have to asterisk because Mike is,
I think Mike gets the credit.
No, I know.
The guys
I'm
fired
just being
up.
facetious.
I know you are.
It was one of the best performances in a 3-pitch managerial job.
Special category. Another 3-ball count. Eckersley should be ready in the bullpen for Alomar. Should Giles get on.
If he comes in, I'm anxious to see the reception here in Cleveland. And he does. And a derisive standing ovation for a ball 4. Again, our thanks to our folks at the Goodyear Blimp giving us this dizzying view of first base. More information about Goodyear and its fleet of blimps, please log on to the internet at www.goodyear.com. He's chosen not to make the move, and Alomar will bat. Sandy has 2 doubles and a ground out.
And X wondering what's going on. You could almost read his lips. If I'm going to come in, I should be in there right now. And Swindell got away with one right there. Sandy Alomar was all over that fastball. Fouled it straight back. Well, I guess he'd rather have Swindell, who's got a pretty good changeup. And that's what he's going to have to throw to Alomar to get him out, because Sandy's all over the fastball today. Got Core on deck, who again hits better from the left side, and then Lofton from the left side.
Garcia Parra, Benjamin, Vaughn, Williams pulled the right button. Pushed the right button. That's certainly the case there. And a double play ball by Swindell. We played 7-8-5 Tribe. Miller, Joe Carter on the call for you. We'll begin it on ESPN2 in a couple of moments. And then after this is done here in Cleveland, we will move over on ESPN, the original. Top of the 8th inning. Again, Paul Shuey swinging to the first pitch. It's Mike Stanley, slow hopper, and Vizquel could not make the play. That was a tough play all the way along. Both Fryman and Vizquel made the move. Stanley isn't exactly Ricky Henderson, but still, that's a tough play on a high bound.
Most of the time, Omar Vizquel will make this play. As tough as it is, Stanley hits it right off the plate or in front of the plate. Omar many times has barehanded balls like this and thrown a runner out. This time he's not able to get the grip, and by the time he does, even with slow running Mike Stanley, it's too late.
Now Jeff Newman has not waited long. His Shuey looked pretty good, but against the lefty Troy O'Leary, who has not gotten a hit yet in the postseason. It'll be Paul Ossenmacher, the veteran lefty, coming in. Shuey departs. Ossenmacher in. Will be back. I'm a winner! In the match. There's a hope at the plate. And the Braves and Cubs game number 1 coming to you from the TED on ESPN2 in a couple of moments. Right now with John Miller and Joe Carter. We're done here at Cleveland. We'll move over to that game on ESPN, the original, as well. But we are long from done. And the man that has made more appearances in the 90s than any other pitcher. Regular season appearances in the 90s, 589 for the man that loves popcorn, Paul Orville Ossenmacher. He can get the strikeout, Kevin.
That's right, especially off the left-handers, because he's got that big 3/4 sweeping type breaking ball that breaks sharply down and away.
Troy O'Leary, sorry, Kevin, rips the first pitch into right field for a base hit. Stanley will move to second base. O'Leary with his first hit in the series, and the 5-6 guys who have been struggling now getting underway.
But here's the thing, he threw a fastball first pitch to O'Leary. We talked about what a good fastball hitter he is. Threw a fastball, middle in, right down the heart of the plate, and Troy turns on it instead of coming in with that big sweeping breaking ball where Troy would have trouble with.
Now the Red Sox have the tying run at the plate. Darren Bragg has been called back. Damon Buford Buford has been announced as the pinch hitter. Jeff Newman then goes to the mound. And the man who had 40 saves this year for Cleveland, Mike Jackson, will come in, and the plan is maybe to pitch the root. Midray Cummings is the pinch hitter for the pinch hitter Buford, batting for Bragg. And this is what Jackson came in for. Oh, the bobble, and they only get one out. We've seen Omar Vizquel bobble a very tough play for no error, and now bobble a double play ball.
So used to seeing Omar Vizquel make every play that's hit to him. This ball's a routine double play ball, almost like you'd hit in infield practice.
The tough hop came up, huh?
Just got him on the heel a little bit. He's fortunate he picked the ball up and got the force out. But that would have been a sure double play. And now the tying run is at the plate once again. And it also enables Mo Vaughn to come up in the 9th inning. Unless there's a double play ball right here.
Yep. Jason Varitek, 1 for 3, singled in the 6th his last time up. Struck out and popped the first earlier. Pops this up. Vizquel squeezes this one. Boy, you know, in the inning, I mean, he doesn't have any errors on it, but there are plays that he normally makes.
Well, he's just that good. He's so good, Chris, that everybody's used to seeing him make every ball that's hit his way. That chopper that started the inning by Stanley was a tough play, but he tried to barehand.
Hey, how about the career year that Mike Jackson has had with 40 saves for the Indians? He's always thrown many, many innings. He's come in, he's thrown a double play ball, and he's got an infield pop-up with a runner at third. I mean, that's closers type results.
No doubt. He's got a great fastball and a hard, sharp slider. Look at that ERA, 1.55.
Well, this is not Jeff Newman. This is Mark Wiley coming out because Trot Nixon is in the on-deck circle to pinch hit for Mike Benjamin, the second baseman.
Well, this is a little refresher of the scouting report on Trot Nixon because he spent most of the year in AAA. He does have a little power on the ball middle end. Trot Nixon is an outstanding defensive outfielder, and he made the postseason roster for his left-handed bat and his versatility in the outfield. And he also runs fairly well.
Well, the fans got nervous because, remember, their manager, Mike Hargrove, has been thrown out since the 3rd pitch of the game. But Mike Jackson's not into the 8th inning to give way to somebody in the 9th, I can tell you that.
No, that was just a scouting report refresher because you got a young guy up here that they have not seen for the most part all season. Had a cup of coffee in the big leagues a couple of years ago. 27 at-bats right there.
310 batter in Pawtucket, AAA with 135 games. 24-year-old Trot Nixon looks at a strike from Mike Jackson.
Now, Trot has changed his stance from a couple of years ago when I knew him and I had him. And he had a cup of coffee in the big leagues. He's opened his stance up. And what that enables him to do is to see the ball a little better with both eyes. And then when he goes to stride, he strides right toward the pitcher. He used to be even or with a closed stance, and he'd stride across his body and block his hips off, and it slowed his bat down. Now he's got better bat speed.
It just misses outside, 2-1.
Jackson knows the scouting reports. They're trying to stay away on Trot Nixon. You don't want anything down and in, or even a breaking ball where he can hook it over the right field fence. There's that angle. Stance.
No go, says Davey Phillips, the umpire at third. A stance you don't see by too many. Of course, Galarraga plays with that sort of thing a little bit. Dick McAuliffe comes to mind, of course, but that's years ago.
I think there's more and more open stances now in the big leagues because guys realize when they go to stride, it puts them just about parallel, and they can get through the inside pitch better and the outside pitch.
Fouled off, another count is full at 3-2.
Well, that's the pitch he's got to be able to hit. He had a good swing at it. Fastball middle in. Here's the swing. Alomar sitting away. Watch the pitch. Pretty much right down the middle with a little bit of tailing action and just enough action where Nixon fouled it off.
Runners at the corners, and now Tomey will go out to talk with Mike Jackson. The fans on their feet.
Tomey should be playing way behind with the 3-2 count and 2 outs at first
He
base.
is not yet.
He should be back further. Want to take that single away now.
Nixon held up the appeal, and it's ball 4. The bases are loaded for Darren Lewis. A great job of patience in a tough spot for Trot Nixon.
Very good at bat for Trot Nixon, able to hold up on his pitch right there. Good call. He did hold up.
Darren Lewis walked and scored, doubled and scored, fielder's choice, and a strikeout looking. Plunked yesterday in the left ear flap, had to leave the game. He's come back and now can put the Red Sox back in this game with a base hit.
That's the call right there that Dwight Gooden did not get in the first inning, and they're glad to get that call now. Fastball at the knees. Good pitch. A little bit of tailing, sinking action. Joe Brinkman rings it up. Darren Lewis has a .462 batting average with the bases loaded.
Right at Joey Cora, the flip to Omar Vizquel, and the Red Sox leave the bases full. Mike Jackson comes in the 8th and extinguishes the Red Sox flame. We head to the bottom of the 8th, 8-5 Tribe.
12-1 since the All-Star break. Sammy Sosa 3 for 33 lifetime against Smoltz, but he gets the base hit right there. Mark Grace at the plate. No score in the first.
I erred. They are not out of the first yet. Sosa with a base hit, and here we are in the bottom of the 8th inning at the Jake with the Indians. Red Sox made him sweat, but Cleveland maintains the 8-5 lead. Tom Gordon set a major league record of 43 straight saves. Led the league overall with 46 saves, is in the game for Boston, despite the fact that they are down. Ooh, that one with smoke. Joey Cora hit one into the stands. And the fan made a grab there with the glove. That was one of the best plays we've seen.
That's called preparation, bringing a glove to the ballpark.
Now, I mean, I can answer the question. They're off tomorrow. We didn't pitch yesterday. Is that why?
That's the reason, absolutely. 8th inning, normally Tommy Gordon would not be in here. And, of course, Williams not anticipating a loss, but they are down 3 runs. Mike Jackson looks good, so Gordon has to get an inning of work to stay sharp because tomorrow's an off day as well.
Trot Nixon stays in the game and will play right field. And with the succession of pinch hits in the 7th hole, Donnie Sadler, Staff Sergeant Donnie Sadler, goes in the game at second base. I just reached for that nickname. That came up on the. Do you remember what song Staff Sergeant Barry Sadler sang? The song in the 60s about the Green Beret. That was a Willie McCovey stretch, by the way, on that one. We tried that before, and there's probably reasons for that. Joey Cora will walk to first base against Tom Gordon, to the chagrin of Jimmy Williams, and it's been kind of a boxing match here between the Indians and the Red Sox. What a perfect segue, or Diego Segui, to our Friday at 8 Eastern ESPN2 debuts Friday Night Fights. Muhammad Ali featured in segments and classic bouts. Brian Kenny, Max Kellerman will have the main event. We'll talk about Andrew Galata and Tim Witherspoon, the heavyweights. That's debuting this Friday on ESPN2 at 8 o'clock Eastern. Kenny Lofton will back for the 5th time in the top spot. He has doubled, RBI doubled, and scored. Earlier he walked and scored. Tom Gordon having trouble finding the plate.
Yeah, not getting the ball down right now. That's why Varitek's going out to the. Got to get Tommy Gordon to make an adjustment, get that ball down in the zone. Tommy Gordon is so effective because not only does he have a fastball that's at 93, 94, he's got an outstanding strikeout, overhand power curveball, which he has not thrown yet.
Yesterday, the Red Sox pitchers walked no one. You see Gordon, of course, those numbers said, boy, that's a lot of at-bats. So late last year, Gordon was a starter, most notably with Kansas City. How about this for Tom Gordon? He started opening day last year for Boston.
That's right.
Now he's in the record books as a closer.
We actually
very tech-like.
Chris, we actually approached him in May of 1996 about being a closer, and he was all set to do that for us because our closer was struggling that particular year. But 2 days later, he threw a 10-1 victory at Seattle, a 2-hitter. The idea was put on the back burner. decided in '96 to make him a closer because, number one, he's a great athlete, one of the best athletes on that field. He's an everyday player type mentality. Get too much time into thinking between starts, and basically is a two-pitch pitcher. And both of them are strikeout pitches. Fastball, curveball. And his arm is very resilient. He can throw every day.
Started to say, Kevin, that yesterday Pedro Martinez and Corsi did not walk any Indian. Today, 6 walks, 3 have scored. And of course, we still don't know on first base.
And I look for the Indians to put Cora in motion, perhaps not on the 1 and 2 count, but they'd like to have another run on the board because Mo Vaughn will be coming up, and perhaps Garcia Parr in the 9th inning for the Red Sox.
Right up the middle through the wickets of Gordon. Carr stops at second base, and the Indians figure, well, just in case we get some more. And they're 2 on and then out for Vizquel, then David Justice.
The pitch right down the middle and up, right under the glove of Tommy Gordon. Tommy Gordon normally is a very good fielding pitcher. He's so quick. Wasn't able to get the glove down on that particular ground ball. If he had, it would have been a double play, but not so. First and second, nobody out, and third base John Valentin talking to Gordon in case Vizquel decides to put a bunt down. But if he does and gets it down, they're going to walk David Justice. So we'll see if the Indians want to take the bat out of Justice's hands. Put it in Manny Ramirez's hands. The bases loaded. Take 1 out.
Pulled it away. Ball 1.
Well, Justice is 2 for 5 versus Tommy Gordon. Manny Ramirez only 4 for 19 with a .211 batting average. So it would be a no-brainer if Vizquel bunts and sacrifices runners in second and third if they'll walk Justice.
Throw down to second base to try and catch Cora napping. Almost. Very good snap throw by Veritek.
Very quick feet, and because Vizquel was looking to bunt, Joey Cora was trying to get a good jump to get to third base on the secondary lead. Joey's off the bag by a lot. Garcia Parr sneaks in behind, and Veritek throws a strike just a hair too late.
Gordon, you can see why Jimmy Williams wanted to get some work.
Absolutely right.
The work that he's getting is not very good.
That's absolutely right.
And, you know, we've seen Jeff Newman. What's interesting with we've seen it all game, Grover having been thrown out after 3 pitches. It's like the minor leagues. The third base coach is giving all the signs.
Absolutely. Exactly right. He'll be taken right here.
Walk, single, walk, given up by Flash Gordon, and now David Justice, who has 4 RBIs on the afternoon, will come to the plate. And you might see a scene that we haven't seen very often, Gordon being relieved by Dennis Eckersley.
That's a possibility. Joe Kerrigan out to talk to Tommy. Tommy's got to make an adjustment. He's landing on his heel a little bit in his delivery, and it's causing him to stay up with the fastball.
Seen on ESPN2. We're in the bottom of the first in Atlanta with Smoltz getting out of the first inning for the Braves. Mark Clark pitching for Chicago. See if their storybook season. What about the Red Sox and Cubs in there at the same time? I mean,
could happen.
Just even in the playoffs at the same time.
Pretty emotional Monday night being in Chicago and doing that game on ESPN radio with Charlie Steiner. That was a lot of fun. And now to come here, we're talking about emotions.
Yeah, well, Mo Vaughn had 7 RBIs yesterday. Justice already has 4. How much more could come with the infield in and bases loaded? Oh, man! Mo Vaughn was right there. Check out the palm in about 3 hours. Oh! Has David Justice hit a ball not on the nose today?
He nailed it. He crushed this ball right down the middle with a fastball. Watch the reaction of Mo Vaughn. That's all you can do. You don't think Mo Vaughn's a good athlete?
Oh, man.
Wow.
Looked like Jerry Cheevers in the nets on that one.
Well, that was certainly a 2-run single for sure, and maybe a double.
up, bases loaded. Pulled the string a little bit, did Gordon, and Ramirez was hacking strike one.
That's that good overhand curveball that Tommy has. First one he's thrown. 82 miles an hour, got Ramirez way out in front.
8 grand slams, and he's like barely come to the majors. Record being 23, by the way, by Gehrig, just in case you wanted to know. That's one record that didn't fall this year.
Now, Manny knows that he's going to get fastballs in, curveballs down and away. That was a 95 fastball in on his hands. As I said, his power is to right center. They try to tie him up with fastballs in.
Pitches in there, although Varitek didn't handle it.
He crossed up. Varitek apparently called a fastball, and he got a hard curveball from Tommy Gordon. Watch the break. Varitek looking fastball up and in, and he gets a curveball. Lucky he didn't break his hand. With the runner at second base, and actually bases loaded, but the runner at second looking in at the signs. Varitek goes through a series of signs, and Tommy Gordon got crossed up. Turned out to be a pretty good pitch. Worked out for him. Well, there's 2 things he can do now. He can go up and in, out of the zone, and try to get Ramirez to chase a high fastball. He can drop that hard curve in the dirt. He elected to go inside, but he wanted the ball up, not down. Manny will hit that ball down.
Tomey on deck.
He can double up in there with a fastball if he wants. Looks like they're going away with a curve.
Manny will sit. Gordon is 2/3 of the way free.
That strikeout curve we're talking about, bottom drops out of it, right over the top. Good rotation, good arm speed. Look at that, from top to bottom, right off the table.
Well, if Gordon can get out of here, I know it's a 3-run deficit, but he can keep all the runners aboard. Valentin, Vaughn, Garcia-Parra coming up in the 9th for Boston. And we know what damage they have wreaked.
Well, here's a guy, Jim Tomey, that has had success against Tommy Gordon, 10 for 24 with 3 home runs. That's a .417 lifetime batting average. A pretty good pitch to hit right there, and fouled it off. You're right, Boston still has a chance if they can get Tomey right here. On this late break. Wow. Starts at the letters, finishes at the belt, but it paralyzes Jimmy Tomey. That's called a hard curveball.
Up top, 1-2. Tomey is over 3 in an intentional walk today. Yesterday, of course, he went deep off Pedro Martinez. He was late, didn't matter, but 1 for 6. That's his only hit in the 2 games. Another hit will salt it. Oh, this might salt it anyway. Wild pitch by Tom Gordon, and the Indians have a 4-run cushion, 9-5.
That is huge right now, because it looked like Tommy might get out of this inning after loading the bases with nobody out. Here's the pitch. It's the ball that got away from him. Tried to go down and in, or inside at least. And that ball just got away from him off the tip of the glove of Varitek, who's had a little bit of a tough time today, starting with Tim Wakefield. A couple pass balls in the first inning.
Count remains at 2-2. Everybody moved up. Lofton to third. Vizquel to second. 1 run in. with the heavy metal coming up, I mean, it's starting to make the task a little bit too much. Gordon now 3-2. Walk 2. Wild pitch in this inning. It's not the Tom Gordon that's got in the record book. Up the middle, Gordon snares it. Over to Vaughn. Cleveland came up with one to make it 9-5, and a good thing, because John Valentin, Mo Vaughn, Nomar Garciaparra coming up in the ninth.
Oh, folks.
9-5 Indians, top of the ninth. Richie Sexson, 6'8" rookie, has gone in to play first base for Jim Thome, as Mike Jackson, who has not worked more than 1 2/3 this year, who is certainly capable, would be looked to go 2 innings here as he came in with none out of the 8th, and now he and Valentin are going to have some words. We started hot in the top of the first. We're finishing hot in the top of the ninth.
Well, that was not intentional by Mike Jackson. He just didn't like the look that Valentin gave him.
The bullpens even came running in just in case. I mean, it was Jeff Newman at the mound with Jackson and the umpires.
You know, when Valentin gave him that look, Jackson didn't like it, and that's when things started. Mike was not trying to hit Valentin. Trying to win the ball game. Just trying to come inside. Ball got away. Look at the movement.
Johnny leans in over the plate a little bit.
Yeah, he loads up. He goes down before he goes forward. Mike Jackson's just trying to run the ball in on the hands of John Valentin. There's a spin right there, and it just tailed in on him. And anytime a hitter gets the ball up at his head, he's not too happy about it, no matter what the score is or the situation.
And then there, well, wait a minute. Then it was, here's the look. Well, it was a little more than that. And time is called. So we've... The gate was still open in the bullpen as the Red Sox went back in the barn door. The barn door was still open. The cattle were out. Oh, man, what hasn't gone on in front of the plate here? Valentin, Vaughn, and Garciaparra. There's a strike. Let me just throw this out here because Doc Gooden was gone. After 4 batters, we didn't get a chance to get into this just for fodder. Because some of us know, Kevin, you and I, how fatalistic New Englanders can be with regard to the Red Sox.
Oh, absolutely.
Their 13-game postseason losing streak snapped yesterday. Valentin ground ball to Vizquel, and Omar will fire it across to Sexson, who makes the pickup and the scoop. And there's one. I don't think Valentin will give him a look. He's just going right in the dugout. That was just one of those things.
No, Val's an aggressive guy. I mean, he's a street guy. He's a fighter. Just didn't like the ball thrown at his head.
Let me just finish this. The last time the Red Sox won a postseason game until yesterday was Game 5 of the '86 World Series. It was a game that they beat Doc Gooden. It would be ironic that a new losing streak, if you will, might be started in a game started by Doc Gooden 12 years later. Just an honor. Mo Vaughn up against Mike Jackson. Ball 1.
Well, Doc Gooden and Mike Hargrove had more to do with this game than anybody knows.
Yes, they did.
The emotions going very quickly.
Mo was 0 for 3 today after a make that 1 for 4 today after a 7 RBI day yesterday. So the Red Sox still alive.
Well, if you got to face Mo Vaughn in the 9th, that's how you want it, with nobody on base and a 4-run lead. You got a fastball to hit. He drilled it to right center for the single.
Well, we've seen a lot in this series, certainly in this game, and we'll be happy to bring Game 3 to you here on ESPN at 4 o'clock Friday, live from Fenway Park. That'll be the first game to be the only ESPN game that afternoon, so we'll waiting for another game to end or anything. 4 o'clock Friday, Game 3. Omar Garciaparra driven in 3 of the 5 Red Sox runs today, giving him 7 for the series. appeals it in the circuit court. We're going to Atlanta in a moment. Well, if it ends up this way, Kevin, what about the Indians and the way they battle back and once again coming back from an 0-1 deficit, scoring 9 runs?
Well, should they win, and it looks like they may, although Garcia-Parra has a 3-0 count. Now 3-1. The momentum goes back to Cleveland's way, because after Martinez really dominated yesterday, the feeling of what was going to happen in the first inning, Gooden got off to a slow start. I think the momentum goes back Cleveland's way, although going to Fenway Park is going to be different than it was 3 years ago.
There's the tallest man today for the Cleveland Indians, Dave Burba, who will get the win if they make it official at 9-5, or 9-8 for that matter. Jackson, this could do it. Corner. Sexton, double play, and the Indians are very much alive. The Red Sox got home field out of this trip to Cleveland, but the Indians have come back emphatically with a 9 spot of their own, and they win it 9-5 to even this series at 1-up. It's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Kevin Kennedy and all of us here in Cleveland, I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching. 9-5 Indians over the Red Sox, the Cubs, and Braves coming up in just a jiffy with John Miller and Joe Carter in Atlanta.